Here at South Ozone Park, New York, and our FS2 coverage. About 10 minutes away from the first live race of the afternoon. Greg Wolf, New York Racing Association handicapper, Andy Serling, as we eye a big weekend coming up. We're off the turf today, but a lot of Breeders' Cup implications coming up, including the Joe Hurst Turf Classic. Farbridge back in action on Saturday.
And including the two-time Breeders' Cup winner, Rebels Romance, the horse to beat. Obviously, Farbridge trying to get back on track. El Cordobas, the stablemate to Rebel Romance. It's a small but select field, and really nobody in there is without merit in the race. So looking forward to that race. Looking forward to Saturday's card as well.
Feature later today, race 7 mile and an eighth, 2 turns, and there's no question, Certified Lover Boy, the one to beat in this spot. Fernando Abreu trains. Flavian Pratt, reigning Eclipse Award-winning rider, will be aboard. He's been good on off tracks. He's been consistently better against tougher competition, and he's tactical.
I think his last 4 or 5 dirt races are all good enough to beat this field. So, well, he doesn't have to win. No horse ever has to win. He looks like the controlling speed. Perhaps Mr. Papa Giorgio will stalk him from the outside, but there's really nothing not to like about him. Doesn't mean he's going to win, but he is absolutely the horse to beat.
8-5 morning line, may even get shorter than that. Couple starts back on a wet track. Was beat a neck, and despite the fact he has not won at a mile and an eighth, he's run very good at the distance. As we take a look at the rest of the field, I know you like Winstock a little bit. Same barn, much better price.
I have a thing for Winstock, a horse that was ridden with Bob Baffert, and he spent a little brief period of time on the Triple Crown Trail, as so many 2- and 3-year-olds do, especially in those barns. This was a remarkable performance 3 races back where he broke 3-4 lengths behind the field, and he still ends up circling the field and winning well. We know he can handle a wet track. We know he can come from behind, and he's a little bit questionable, but he's been facing some better horses in his recent races, and I thought he might be an interesting alternative to the favorite, getting back into a much more realistic spot for Fernando Abreu.
All right, he's 8-1 morning line. Joel Rosario will be aboard. It's been all or nothing with him. 4 wins. The other 11 starts has not hit the board. Does have a win on an off track, and we're muddy to start today's action off the turf today. As you look at what's ahead, presented by Claiborne Farm. With you until 5 Eastern this afternoon with coverage from Horseshoe Indy as well. We'll check in with Rachel McLaughlin in a little bit. Muddy off the turf in Shelbyville, Indiana.
I think it was very nice of them at Horseshoe to sort of be copacetic with us from a weather standpoint. I appreciate that. Most tracks are not as accommodating as that.
We are closing in on the opener here. Just 8 minutes to post in this first. 1 turn mile. Non-winners of 3 life. $17,000 claiming race. Rodeo Star 6-5 right now. Big scratch, obviously the 3 comes out.
I picked Rodeo Star. She might be the worst 6-5 shot I've ever seen.
More on that in a moment. We start with Foxy Cara, Lane Luzzy.
At least her recent form is fairly good, but she's not a winning type with just 2 wins and 35 starts and 14 seconds and thirds. But she's fast enough to compete.
Here's Best Impression, who was a winner 2 back.
She should be sitting second behind the current favorite. I thought she would be favored in this race. She has the best recent races.
Brooklyn Dance ways behind Best Impression when they met.
Got the money last time at almost 50-1. This is a tougher spot. No speed.
And Rodeo Star 6-5 favorite.
Well, I feel like this horse is supposed to be the controlling speed. Has been running against better horses. Gets class relief here. I didn't expect to get 6-5, but here we are.
Pick 5 right off the bat. You see that pool, lower right-hand side of your screen, and that's where you can play it at Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. New member offer, that $200 deposit match, new customer bonus with that code at sign up. So punch in match 200 when you sign up at Naira Bets, and you are ready to roll as we get set for this opener. So Rodeo Star, Ilkai Cantor Machi Barn, a 2-time winner, and this horse has been forward last time out at a mile and an eighth, but it's been forward at a mile as well.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think this horse is going to be in front. Manny has to be looking to be aggressive. We'll see how aggressive they are with Best Impression, who is coming out of shorter races. And it's funny, you look at the pace projector, and it has the 6 really clear of the 2, but the 2 coming out of shorter races can be closer. And I think the key to Rodeo Star is being able to secure the lead, though she did win stalking 4 races back. Her recent races are not good, but they were both at a mile and an eighth, which may be a bit of a stretch for her, and they were against better fields. I'm hoping the class relief will help her, obviously. And a race through at a significant scratch. I don't think too many of us expected Linda Rice to run She's Complicated back in a week, especially given Linda's proclivity for scratching horses willy-nilly. So I'm not surprised this horse is not playing today. And without her, it sort of depletes the race from horses who have reached particularly good form recently. I wonder if Best Impression will be favored by post time, Greg.
Well, form-wise, as you mentioned, She's Complicated was the one to beat, and also pace-wise, she was one probably to catch. With her out, we bring in Maggie Wolfendale, Rodeo Star. How does she look getting set for this opener?
Well, if you want her to be the speed here, if that's what you're banking on, Greg, she's definitely the sharpest as she continues her warm-up here with the pony. At least she started off that way. I believe she stayed with the pony, but she was really kind of tough and aggressive to get the tack on. And two, she occupies that outside stall, which I think is always, a key factor when helping horses get out of the gate a little bit easier. She looks the part, at least against this field, so I have no problems with her if you like her as the favorite. Honestly, the horse that looks next best to her isn't the 2. It's the 1, and I don't usually say that about Foxy Karen. I know she's never won at this mile distance, but physically she looks as though she can handle it. And last time she was in a race where literally the speed just held together overall, and we saw Best Impression. She was the one, granted, to stay on 2, and Foxy Karen just way too far back in that one. So I'm hoping with the shorter field, she is able to keep in contention and obviously working with more ground. Really good for her as far as her coat and her weight are concerned. It's usually my biggest comment or criticism of her when she shows up on race day. Best Impression, however, she was on the wide chase throughout last time out on that common August 29th race and stayed on pretty well, I thought, and indicating that she should be okay getting a little bit more ground to work with. She's definitely built that way. She's a big, tall, leggy filly, but I've seen her just look a bit stronger behind. She's really lightened up in her hindquarters, which are actually kind of a bit peaked now, and just looks a bit lighter than I'd like to see her. Granted, she should run well here. She should be forward. She's not particularly as sharp as Rodeo Star, but at least alert and bright in her demeanor. So we'll see what she does here. I've just seen her look a bit better on certain occasions than what she does today, Greg.
Well, good information. We see right now she becomes a 6-5 favorite despite that appearance. And it's really the 2 and the 6 taking the majority of the money in here, although Foxy Karen not far behind.
And I think that the fans, the thing about the 2 and 6 is they're horses that are even more forwardly placed in here. And I'm not the biggest fan of Best Impression, who I thought her last race in victory, or 2 back was in victory, was a very weak effort. She ran okay last time out. And I guess in this spot, she has to be considered dangerous. And the thing that 2 and 6 have over both the 1 and 4 is they have a lot more speed. And Foxy Karen has no speed.
Let's take a look at her again, 5-2.
She finished just ahead behind Best Impression last time out, but I think the fact that Best Impression is more forward should give her a bigger advantage in this race. Obviously, in this field, I don't want to say anybody's impossible, and Foxy Karen, like her odds, is the 3rd likeliest winner.
Lane Luzzy will be aboard, just 2 for 35
That's
lifetime.
the problem. That's the problem where Best Impression's 2 for 9, Rodeo Star's 2 for 12. It just seems like she's a bit camera shy. Maybe the wet track will help her. And, of course, Brooklyn Dance, the 4, is the longest shot on the board.
And then you have Brooklyn Dance, who competed against Best Impression back in July at Saratoga, was quite a ways behind her. She leaves herself quite a bit of work to do.
She has no speed, and she's slower than these horses. So for her to win, she would have to run better than she's run in quite some time and, hope the race sort of falls apart. She's not for me, but if you like her, she is the rank outsider in this race.
And, again, we say it all the time, but no 2 off-race tracks are the same, but she's been on 2 muddy tracks before. They certainly have not been her best races.
No, but I don't think they're so much worse than her other race around there that I wouldn't be overly worried about it. Just, we'll see if the track is helping horses that are forward. It doesn't usually, unless it's really raining a lot during the day, and there's some sprinkles, but no substantial rain, at least at this point, to suggest usually the tracks are more fair when we get wet. It doesn't really seem to affect things that badly.
So pick 5 pool, nearly $165,000 coming up. Begins with this 1-turn mile. It's non-winners of 3 life, all in for the 17,500 claiming race. We talked about it earlier when we were on, previewing the card. Third race, obviously, we're off the turf all day today, but that third, one of those that comes off. But 5 main track onlys all stay in and makes that actually a really intriguing betting race.
I agree. It's the same 8-horse field we would have got on the turf, and I think it is an open race where, one of the horses that from the body of the race, gratefully, I think Connection's probably happy the race came off, having broken her maiden impressively on a sloppy track in her debut. Hey, Cookie's in good form. Cadena is dropping down. And even Sail Away on the outside off the claim from Linda Rice. I agree. I think that's a more wide open race, that race, which also starts the pick 6, part of this pick 5 as well. The 4th race, you like the 6 a little more than I do. I was just going to use the 1 and 9 in there with the 6, 11 as sort of backups, C's in my pick 5.
I'm glad you brought that up because race 4 right now was meant for the grass. No one's come out. So the 11, who's main track only, is not even in yet. Right?
No, he's in.
Who's out?
Well, they can run 11 in the dirt. They can't run. They can't run.
Sorry, so everyone stays in.
And don't forget, he was entered to run the dirt. And I don't even know if I think you might be able to run 12 on the turf. I'm not sure. It depends where the rails are.
Oh, okay.
Rails are pretty
so
far
field
out,
is
so maybe only
is.
10. It's the whole 11. Nobody came out at all. The entire field. We can run 11 on the dirt, just not necessarily on the turf. I'm not sure.
And then race 5, we thought Ridgewood runner, huge standout.
Big single for a lot of people. Maybe systemic change. You lack speed as the backup.
3-2 favorite here to kick off this Thursday card. Best impression, the 2. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
2 out. Brooklyn Dance, Rodeo Star. Rodeo Star moves forward. All set. And they're off. Broken an even line, and Brooklyn Dance will get the first call. Host of pursuers, though, and they're bunched up early. At the rail, here comes Foxy Kara, now with a nose advantage. Best impression is right there towards the outside. They're 1-2. Just off of them, a Rodeo Star, and after breaking on top, Brooklyn Dance has switched to the outside, is the close-up trailer as they work up the backstretch. They are well off the rail, and the leader is Foxy Kara. Lane Luzzy with a nose advantage still well off the rail, as here's Best Impression, and Luis Rivera Jr. now challenging towards the outside. Best Impression travels well towards the outside of Foxy Kara. They go back and forth through a 23-second flat opening quarter mile. Losing some ground was Rodeo Star, is now 2 lengths back alone in third, being encouraged by Manny Franco to keep up as they went 45-4 for a half-mile time, and they're into the far turn now. Trying to rally on from the back is Brooklyn Dance, but has 6 to make up, as Best Impression still travels very nicely to the outside, as now a neck in front. Foxy Kara is trying to stick right with this rival, and they continue to get separation from the back 2. Brooklyn Dance is trying to rally on. Getting out of touch there is Rodeo Star, who's still alone in third. They reach the top of the stretch, and Best Impression was traveling well, but Foxy Kara is now spurted away. Foxy Kara had plenty, and Foxy Kara is trying to open up. Best Impression is trying to commence a rally and try to re-rally with a furlong left to go. Foxy Kara's putting her away. It's Foxy Kara who's now 2-3 widening lengths in front inside the final 16th. It's going to be Foxy Kara, Lane Luzzy. They'll win the opener. Best Impression second, Brooklyn Dance, and Rodeo Star in 1 minute 37-4.
Lane Luzzy, aggressive early and does not relent. 1-2-4 finish to kick off the card.
I don't know how you look at this race and expect this race to be run like this. And listen, it's not as though they were going slowly. I mean, obviously there are going to be some fast paces today, but it's hard to imagine that the 1 was going to be in front and 45-4 to the half and be able to draw off to victory. But the 6 didn't do any running at all. The 4 obviously not good enough, and Best Impression did not run well. Credit for Lane Luzzy being aggressive here. It made the difference.
1-2-4-6. Best Impression appeared to be in good striking position, but then when the real running started late, Foxy Kara just had more. 5-2.
You could see it on the turn. You could see when they turned for home who was going to win. Best Impression never really got away from her. She got about a neck in front, but the reality was the mile distance was more favorable to Foxy Kara, and while she's been camera shy, a good ride by Lane Luzzy gets the job done here. I like to see the aggressive riding. Certainly made the difference here.
3 for 36 lifetime, yet you're only rewarded at 5-2.
Well, I mean, if you liked her today, it's 5-2 in a four-horse field, and one of them was really hard to make. I don't have problems if I liked her. I didn't think she had a chance to win today. I didn't ever expect her to get this kind of ride. The race didn't develop in any way the way you would have expected, but give credit to Connections for being smart. I don't know how you could have predicted this. Not to say she couldn't win. You didn't predict it, but I think the change in tactics certainly played a role in her victory today. They were just hard to fathom tactics.
Foxy Kara, Lane Luzzy kick off this Thursday card with a win at 5-2 to begin things. Third choice on the board in this field of four. Just her third career win. Prices when we come back.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races with live coverage from Belmont at the Big A. And we're proudly brought to you by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Mild upset in today's opener as Foxy Kara at 5-2 gets the job done, and pleased to be joined by her trainer, Carlos Figueroa. And Carlos, more affectionately known in your barn as Peaches.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we've been calling her Peaches since the beginning. You know, she means a lot to us, this little mare. And, you know, we knew we were on the cusp of getting that first win with her, and we just couldn't get her in because the races just don't go long for these times on horses. It was like 4 or 5 times entering this mare to finally get a race to go. So we're just like, and the setup was perfect. I mean, the positive scratches. We got an inside trip. I told Lane to be aggressive with her to kind of keep her mind on business and stuff. And followed the plan perfectly, and she ran well.
That seemed to be the problem, like in her last start. The pace held together. She was too far back. And Lane really, really astute. And I was watching the race with you. You said, no, make sure you're looking down the track, because she was kind of looking inside. Yeah. But she broke well, and that was all she wrote.
That's all she wrote. I'm blessed. I thank God every day for being here. My team was just, everybody's been super supportive, and we had some setbacks, you know, along the way. And to finally have her win this race really means a lot to us. I mean, we're really over the moon happy with this win.
You can tell how much it means to you, and she looks fantastic because she's not the easiest to keep that weight on. And you could see the juxtaposition between her and the outside runner. Best impression of just, how big Best Impression is, but how petite that Peaches is.
But she's got a really pretty stride, very long stride for a little horse. I think as she's gotten older, she doesn't really want that speed thing anymore. A lot of her better races have been going short, but as the older she gets, I think she just wants to stretch out and be a little bit more relaxed on the front. And so we've been trying to gear her to running along. Her race in Saratoga was super at a mile and 1/8, and we were not able to get a mile and 1/8 two-turn race for her again. So we're fortunate everything fell into place today, and I thank God that we got it done.
Well done. I feel like I always talk to you in the rain. You're more prepared than me, but congratulations here.
Thank you so much, Maggie.
Foxy Kara picking up that win today, and you can tell how much it means to Carlos and his team. Greg?
It doesn't matter what kind of race it is, especially winning on this circuit. A win, it is hard to come by, and it's very special. Foxy Kara, Lane Luzzy, smart move, being aggressive early with his 5-year-old mare.
No question about it. Good decision by Carlos. Gets it done.
So Foxy Kara, $7.44 to kick things off. 6-5 favorite. Defeated. Third choice in a field of 4 to kick things off. Race 2, the early pick 4, starts in this race. 6-furlong sprint. Another claiming race, $17,500 tag. It's non-winners of 2 life. Belle Cherie should be fairly big favorite, I would think, by post time here. Dropping in class.
I would think so. A little hard to rely on, but in this field, she's supposed to be favored.
Off since late April, though. Disappointing in a race in the mud, but maybe something went amiss. Been off since some time since then, but has had some other races that makes you question a bit if she can still run well. But maybe against this level,
Never won in the dirt.
might be the ticket. We got 19 minutes to post. Race 2, big weekend coming up, and Charlie Appleby, as his 2-time Breeders' Cup Turf winner, eyeing more Rebels Romance. Looking to book a ticket again to Del Mar. Stablemate, though, El Cordobez might be the now horse. Back-to-back wins at 1.5 miles, including the Grade 1 Sword Dancer this summer. We'll preview the Turf Classic next.
$1,600,000. Thank you.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe.
She feels more than pretty. She feels fantastic.
It is all She Feels Pretty.
Yet another Grade 1 for this magnificent daughter of Caraconte.
Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
Saturday on America's Day at the Races, 5 graded stakes races, including the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic and the Vosburg, presented by Army Mule, a Win and You're In challenge for the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Join us Saturday, 12:30 Eastern on FS2.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
English Channel will have to try to squeeze through on the inside. Oh, it's so tight. Here comes Stream of Gold on the outside. But here comes English Channel with a determined run through on the fence. Stream of Gold there on the outside. And English Channel has just muscled his way to victory in the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic Invitational.
That was back in 2007. John Velasquez, and look at this tight opening, squeezing through the inside to repeat in this race.
It was the same year he also won the Breeders' Cup Turf in the bog down at Monmouth in 2007, and he had a remarkable career, incredibly consistent, and hung around for a long, long time.
They'd go on to win, that Breeders' Cup Turf by 7 lengths, just dominate on that occasion. What a performer he was. John Velasquez is going to have an opportunity to pick up another one this weekend. Here are 2-time winners of the Joe Hurst Turf Classic. Of course, Farbridge looking to join this list, including the mare Warlike Goddess, who won it back-to-back years.
Yeah, she was very, very good, and she got that boggy course a couple years ago for that huge blowout win. The mile and a half, certainly agree with her. April run going way back. She was a very, very good runner. I believe she ran for the Firestones. Stan Huff trained her, maybe?
It's our ABR race of the week, and it is a good one. $500,000 purse, grade 1, and again, a 2-time Breeders' Cup Turf winner. Rebels Romance, who is 19 for 28 lifetime for Godolphin and Charlie Appleby showing up.
Very hard to not see him as the horse to beat. He's been remarkably consistent, having won 2 Breeders' Cup Turfs as well.
Let's start with Farbridge, though. He's going to look to join that list we just showed you and become a repeat winner. This is going to be a little bit more difficult task with who he has to face.
Yeah, it wasn't as competitive a field. Warlike Goddess wasn't quite as good, and she's a little bit against the flow of the race, and Joel gave his patented excellent ride making this move here. Warlike Goddess actually made the first move, and Joel was able to save ground for the most part and get to trying to trip that you need to get with Farbridge, making that last move the winning move, as you see Warlike Goddess on the far outside and him coming up the inside. I believe that Farbridge will run a lot better today. He was compromised last time. I think a lot of riders have realized he's a horse that wants to get comfortable inside, and they kind of kept him off the rail until the late stages. And it just was too late by the time he got the position he wanted in his last start. He's likely going to be sitting second to redistricting. He's not a horse that needs to lead to win. He just needs to be able to save ground, and he should be able to do that in this race. And while I suspect of the possibility of beating the favorite, who easily beat in the Breeders' Cup last year, I think you're going to see a much better performance out of Farbridge, and it's not impossible that he wins this race.
A fairly long run, too, to try and get some position early. Compact field, but he is on the outside of it. Rebels Romance, sensational. 7 years old and still going strong. Doesn't look like he's lost much.
I would say that they wish they could breed him, but they probably had to geld him to train him. And the reality is, by gelding him and leaving him around, he's done a lot of damage out there. And I mean, was he a little fortunate in this race? He was, because the second horse had a bit of a trip, but I also thought he ran very well in here, making an early move, chasing the entire way, and still being able to finish at the end. I've probably never given him as much credit as he deserves, but he's like a remarkable horse that just keeps on running. Look at that record.
14+ mil in the bank. He had 19 wins from 28 starts, and that Group 1 win in Germany coming in. He had won a Group 1 coming into Del Mar back in 2024 when he won a different race, but
they apparently wanted to run him in the Belmont, but I think he got injured before that, because I believe he won the UAE Derby.
Meanwhile, his stablemate, impressive in the Grade 1. Sword Dancer, El Cordobez, he's now won back-to-back starts at a mile and a half on the turf.
And listen, maybe he's just an up-and-coming horse that's improving, and he'll continue to go on with it. And in that case, I'll be wrong. I think he's a bet against in this race. He got an absolutely delicious trip in this race, saving ground the whole way. You probably wanted to be on the rail, was able to save ground, split horses. I'm not sure he ran that much better than the second-place finisher, or if better at all in there. And he ran his race. Last time was the time to have him. I want him to show me that he can do it again. Maybe he will, but he's going to do it at my expense.
So what about the horse who finished just behind him, who you feel had the better, or the worst trip, I should say, Rebel Red?
Well, he was wider. I mean, he saved ground a bit, but he did move a little sooner, and he did move a little bit wider. And considering how narrow the margin was, I don't think he really ran any worse. And he is a tough horse to like off his overall form, but he ran well last time. I kind of wondered a little bit if that race was more a tale of trips. And I thought El Cordobas, not 3-1. I'd rather bet Rebel Red at 8-1. I think it's Rebels Romance over Farbridge, and some outside chance that redistricting has just really improved and can wire the field. But he's going to have to step forward off his last 2 wins. But he has been improving, and he does seem to like the distance.
Race 5 on a sensational Saturday card. 2:37 Eastern start time for that Grade 1 Joe Hurst Turf Classic. Important stepping stone to the Breeders' Cup Turf, and to have a two-time Breeders' Cup Turf winner showing up, not to mention Farbridge. A lot of intrigue for that one. Joe Hurst Turf Classic 237 is mentioned. Starts off stakes action, though, with the Belmont Turf Sprint. Woodward, Gallant Bloom, and Vosburg all part of a terrific lineup on Saturday.
No, it's a fun card. 12 races. First post a little after noon. So, oh no, is it after 12:30?
When's the card start, you ask?
Yeah, I think 12:35 it does, because we're on the air at 12:30.
There you go. Race 2. Early pick 4. 6 furlong sprint. This is the one they need to beat. 6-year-old mare Belle Cherie, as Andy had pointed out, has actually yet to win on dirt. For more, let's head downstairs to Maggie.
And that's a big problem, I think. You know, taking any horse, not necessarily doing something for the first time, but just doing something they're not proven at, I think is always a bit of a shot in the dark. As we'll look at Belle Cherie, whom I saw her in her last race at Oaklawn, and I had written, looks like turf long. And that's not what we're doing here. We're going 6 furlongs on the dirt. So I'm still a little dubious about her chances and how well she is suited to these conditions, because she has a turf hoof. She has a fairly weak and kind of meager top line to her. She has no engine at all. And for me, 6 furlongs on the dirt requires an engine. You want a horse to be well developed behind there. And while, yes, it's a layoff and she looks fit and lean, she just does not look strong enough for me. I get the class drop. That's why she's very dangerous and probably, you know, could just win on merit. But for me, she's just not for me. While I don't necessarily love Penn National form coming in here, I'll tell you what, number 6, Aurora Lena, she fits nicely with this crew here, as she'll be offered up for a tag. And maybe this is a negative sign, but at least looking at her physically, good size to her. She carries great conditioning. She has a great disposition here. She's been very good to saddle. She's been acting like a professional, bright but engaged kind of attitude here in the paddock. So for me, Greg, she's an outsider, a new face, I should say, that I think fits nicely with this cast here for race number 2.
All right, here we go. Thank you, Maggie. Post parade coming up here momentarily. The 6-year-old mare, the 2. Belle Cherie at 6-5, but there is that 6 who just left your screen. New face on the circuit who would debut at Monmouth, Penn National, the other 4 starts. See if she can make an impact. We start with Handle on You, Rudy Rodriguez, Martin.
Yeah, I mean, she just doesn't seem fast enough to win this race. I mean, you have to sort of hope that nobody in here comes close to running their better races if you like her today.
Good start to the meet for that barn, though, for Rudy Rodriguez. Here's Belle Cherie, off since April.
Yeah, I think she is very likely winner of this race. I don't love the idea of a short price horse that's never won. I don't totally trust her, but she may well have found the right spot.
Ragtime Sizzle went by, could wake up with the drop in class.
Yeah, I think that she's got a real chance if you're looking for somebody else.
Going for Glory, 8-1.
Little tough to like. She comes off a bad effort. She finally did break her maiden 2 back, though.
And the Penn National Shipper, 2-1 outside.
Yeah, I don't like this horse. I know she's dropping. I don't like Penn National horses. They rarely reproduce their form here, and she's coming in off a bad effort. I suppose she could win, but she's not my cup of tea.
Reminder, if you're playing with Naira Bets, get a $15 bonus today. Bet at least $75 on Churchill Downs and Belmont at the Big A. You'll earn that $15 bonus whether you win or lose. All you got to do is opt in right there. Good luck to everyone playing this afternoon. 7 minutes away on this muddy track off the turf. Race 2, and there is the favorite. So even money, Belle Cherie, 6-year-old mare whose form is tailing off, continuing to drop down the class ladder, and has never won on dirt and has now been off since April.
This is her second place, finishes 4 starts back at Oaklawn. And if she can run this race or the race before to Keeneland, I think she's going to win. But, you know, she ran for Steve Aspen in a subsequent start in the dirt and didn't run particularly well, and then claimed by Mike Maker and didn't run well, and they moved her way up in company to her last start. I don't love that she trained in Saratoga. They couldn't find a race for her up there, but the reality is that she may just have found the right field. She's a hard one to be too excited about, but maybe today is just a field that she almost can't help but beat.
That's what the betting public appears to think here.
I just don't know where else you're supposed to go, and I'm not going to trust in a horse coming into the race of a bad race at Penn National, a track that historically the form is not reproduced here from Penn National, especially when they don't have much else to go on, and our only race outside of Penn National was a terrible effort at Monmouth Park.
So Ricardo Santana Jr. from Mike Maker, and those hot pink Silks of Flying Pea stable with the heavy favorite. We'll see if she can overcome the negatives here. Let's go to Maggie for more.
I'm not thrilled with either of the favorites. Mainly, I don't like the looks of Belle Cherie, and as Andy said, while I like the appearance of Aurora Lena, who actually warmed up beautifully over the track, it's just you can't trust that form. So I'm going to go to a horse that looks a bit slow on paper, but he's taking some money, and honestly was the one who caught my eye the most whilst in the paddock and looks good on the track too. That's number 1 in here, Handle on You, whom I thought ran fine in her last start. She had a slight check going into the turn that day, just very slight, but still, you know, she's kind of battling in between horses, never in that comfortable of a spot, but yet continued that forward progress as they approached the wire. And she just looks incredibly healthy. She physically looks suited to these conditions. And, you know, I'm willing to take a little bit of a shot here against the favorite. And so I'm just going to land on her, Greg. Definitely paints a lovely picture as they approach post time.
So 9-2, Handle on You for a barn that's had a very good start to this meet.
Comes out of the race that the third place finisher in the first race won last time, where she finished second to her. And she's not going to win this race if any of number of horses run back to their better races. Now listen, maybe the 2 won't show up. Maybe the 4 is never going to refine that form from before the claim. Maybe Oralina is a horse that just has form at Penn National, but you're not going to see it here. All of these are possibilities in which she could win, but she's going to have to hope that not 1, not 2, but maybe 3 horses fail to show up in here, in my opinion, to get it done. The best thing I'd say going for her is her barn has woken up and been very hot here after being silent and cold for Saratoga, but even a lot before that as well.
And as for this one on our screen, 3-year-old filly, so at least potentially the upside is there, but you're trusting, again, form that, as you said, does not translate very positively here quite often.
No, and I do think there's a chance she's the main speed, as she's now favored in here. Arlena, now maybe that's more of an indictment of the 2 that she ends up favored. This is a barn that is able to ship here and does well in New York, but I can't get past the fact that this horse is running sort of mediocre races at Penn National. That form often does not get repeated coming to New York. And like I said, her only race outside of Penn National at Monmouth was a dreadful performance, albeit in a maiden special, but still a 31 buyer and a 6th place finish. And she immediately improved upon going to Penn National.
The only time she won as well, she was on the lead. She led every step of the way in the second start of her career.
And doesn't she feel like she's being shipped here in the hopes that she gets claimed?
You would think.
Which doesn't mean she can't win the race, but I think that is worth considering. It's just, you know, listen, this is a badly flawed field. I think if the 2 or 6 don't win the race, that the 4 is the likeliest winner, because she has been running against much better horses since being claimed. Now, she has run abysmally in those races, but she has handled wet tracks before, and if she can find that form for Linda and Eddie Keneally, she'd be very dangerous in this race, but that's a big if. But I would rather take 6-1 on her than 4-1 on the 1 if I'm looking for an alternative.
And when she won, here she is, the 4 Ragtime Sizzle. Yeah, that win came with, as we mentioned, with Linda Rice. And then claimed out of that race. It was a lot tougher company, did no running, dropped way down, did no running. But now, at some point, you got to think you're going to find the level where you're going to be competitive when you've shown some ability.
And sometimes you find these bottom-level races and you're able to do it. Having said that, her form since being claimed away is not good. And Linda claimed this horse from Eddie Keneally. He's not an easy guy to claim from. And then they come and they claim from Linda. She's not easy to claim from. So there is a possibility that this horse has no form to go back to. But I agree with what you said, Greg. Maybe dropping down to this level after running against significantly better horse her last 2 could help wake her up a little bit.
Well, meanwhile, things have Didn't we see this one at about 8-1 a few moments ago, or am I mistaken? Going for Glory, I feel like was taking more money. Now back to a little more realistic spot.
Well, I think as there gets to be more money in the pool, you're going to see, the rank outsiders are going to drift up, and I think that's really what's going on with her. And
Tough
obviously,
to make a case for. What do you think?
I agree, but I don't really think that she's any slower than the 1. I mean, why is the 1 9-2 and she's 16-1? You look at them from a speed figure standpoint; they're pretty much the same horse. Maybe actually Going for Glory is a little more consistent. So I guess the reason they like the 1 is she finished second last time, and she finished second in a horribly slow race in Saratoga. Listen, I'm not going to, you want to bet anybody in this race, be my guest, bet them. I can understand betting against both favorites in here. But I don't know why she's 3 times the price of the 1, because I don't think the 1 is 3 times as likely to win this race as she is. Do you?
I think she's being punished a little bit, the 5, for that being her first try against winners. It was this level, and she didn't
finished
show
well
up
behind
at
the
all.
1. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But to your point, you're right. I mean, maybe, look, that's one off. She's got several figures against a lot easier competition that do figure.
Yeah, I'm not going to just base it on one race, especially when you're talking about a horse 9-2 versus 17-1. Of the 2 horse taking money, I would rather bet the 2, and I don't trust her either, but I'd rather bet her than the 6. And of the remaining ones, I'd rather bet the 4. It's just me.
Wow. Penn National Shipper on the outside, the 6 here with Dylan Davis. Even money.
They want no part of the 2. Be interested to see what this horse does, because the board is saying no, 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 no.
Chris Griffin with this second. Belmont at the Big A.
Going for Glory. Auroralina to the outside. Auroralina goes in. All set. And they're off. Ragtime Sizzle is asked for speed, Going for Glory right there. Belle Cherie to the inside, making it 4 across the track. Here comes Auroralina. Plenty of pace on here as now Auroralina will get away. And Auroralina is up by a full length and a half, but had to work to get there. Dylan Davis was intent on getting to the front, and they are sprinting right to the front and going for home. It is Auroralina who approaches 4 furlongs left to go, is widening this margin, is up by 3-4 lengths, just powerhousing around this turn. Belle Cherie is trying to keep up, now starts to cut into the margin here from second. Ragtime Sizzle, very strung apart here, is second to last is going to be Going for Glory. Far, far back handle on you. 22.22 for that hot opening quarter there. They approach a quarter mile left to go. Can Auroralina keep going? Auroralina front running. Belle Cherie is in full pursuit down the center of the racetrack with the leader in sights. Auroralina and Belle Cherie, the rest with a lot of running to do. Ragtime Sizzle's a clear third, but the top 2 now neck and neck, and here's Belle Cherie to the outside. Ricardo Santana Jr. and Belle Cherie, they push on by. Auroralina's back to second. Belle Cherie won it over Auroralina, then Ragtime Sizzle and Handle on You in 1 minute 11.17 seconds.
Dylan Davis tried to steal this race early on the front end. In the end, gets run down by the 6-year-old mare, Belle Cherie, who goes off second choice 8-5.
I got to say, and I know she won, I'm a little surprised, and I said it before, that the 6 a big favorite, but they really didn't want any part of the 2. Well, she ended up getting it done in this race. There's no surprise the 6 was in front by 3 early. If you look at the time form pace projector, she was the clear speed in here, and Dylan had to motivate her a bit, as Chris said, to get her the front. She went a quick pace. The 2 was able to catch up to her and grind out the victory with the number 4 horse, a distant third. But I think a lot of people surprised that Belle Cherie, and listen, she's warts and all. I totally understand why people didn't like her. I picked her, and I know you did too, Greg, and neither one of us, but both of us would say we totally understand. Yeah. She's 0 for 8 in the dirt. I understand they're having their, reservations, but to me, between the 2 and 6, I'd rather take the horse that at least has better form at bigger tracks. She got it done. You only have to be good enough to beat who you're running against, right?
2, 6, 4, 1, and see how aggressive on the outside there Dylan Davis was with Auroralina. Got to the front for this level, would you say? Fairly quick early? I mean,
yeah, I mean, considering how quick that pace was in the first race today, though, going a mile where they went 45 and 4, I think we're going to see some pretty quick fractions out there. And Dylan did what he had to do. He just rode the second best horse, as it turned out, right? I mean, I don't really think anybody had a bad trip in here. I think they all ran their races, and the two best horses ran 1-2.
In the end, Ricardo Santana Jr. comes and gets the speed. Belle Cherie, that's the first win for her on dirt in her 9th career try. Was not favored, second choice here at 8-5, despite the drop in class with Mike Maker and Santana Jr. So again, 2-6, 4-1 finish.
I'm looking at
slight upset.
I'm looking at doubles. The 6 was favored. Yes, she was favored in doubles. I'm looking. Sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
Back with prices from the start of this pick 4. When we return, we'll get into the beginning of the pick 6. When we come back, it's Belle Cherie in race 2.
The grand finale of the yearling sale season. 2 catalogs offering quality yearlings by the nation's top sires. A sale that has produced scary good results, with 5 Breeders' Cup wins in the last 3 years. Recent grads include Eclipse Champion and Horse of the Year, Torpedo Anna, Eclipse Champion, Soul of an Angel, and many more of the sport's current stars. The Fasig-Tipton, Kentucky October Yearling Sale, October 20th through 23rd in Lexington, Kentucky. Where will you be?
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. Race number 2 in the books, and went to the second choice in the end. That was Belle Cherie for trainer Mike Maker. Ricardo Santana wearing silks that you're very familiar with wearing for Flying P. Jay Provenzano. As you were saying, you're a little out of breath because you had to ride her every step of the way.
Well, it's a filly that, come from 2 turn, now come short. I was kind of a little worried for her 6-4. She finished the job done, had to ride it every step of her racing, so she broke to finish, and she responded really well.
She did. She got there in time. I was concerned about the 6 furlongs, I'm not going to lie, but well done getting her there. As I mentioned, the relationship with you and Jay Provenzano, it seems to be one that really works, and you've had a lot of success together.
Well, first I need to say thank you to Jay. He's part of my family. I have a lot of love and respect for him. He be helping me since I come here in my first year, and I'm really blessed to be part of his team.
You are going to be aboard Baby Yoda on Saturday in the Vosburg. First off the claim for Jay. I know he was so excited when he won the shake for Baby Yoda.
Well, we expect a lot for the colt on Saturday. You know, we're really excited and we're looking for.
As you should be. It's a huge day. Best of luck with him. Congrats here.
Thank you.
All right, Ricardo Santana. I guess the hot pink works, Greg.
Looks good in it when he's getting his picture taken. Belcherie.
Who doesn't look good in hot pink? I mean, come on. We should probably get hot pink suits for the show. What do you think?
We should. Maybe Flying P can be our new wardrobe specialist.
I'm going to let Jay do his own clothes shopping.
6-year-old mare gets that first win on dirt here at 8 to 5. That was the big surprise early on here that you got 8 to 5, that she was not favored in this race.
On the other hand, you know, and I agree, is when she lost, I'd be up here telling people they knew. So, you know, you have to keep that in mind because sometimes they know, they don't know. And in this case, they didn't know, because I do think a lot of the 6's odds were a reflection of not trusting the 2, which I can't blame people for not trusting her, but you got to be better than the field you're against. You don't have to be a superstar.
Pick 6 starts here. Meant for the grass, it comes off, but it's arguably become a better race as a result. 6 furlongs, main track now, starter optional claiming field. It is the 7 Gratefully, who debuted and won in a race that came off the grass, has turf pedigree, but obviously won on a sloppy sealed track impressively in the debut, favored right now.
Yeah, it's highly unusual that racing comes off the turf and they're better races, but sometimes they are. And I don't know about you, I handicapped these races about 2 or 3 months ago, and so I handicapped for dirt and turf, and I agree. I was thinking, oh, this will be a much more interesting race if it comes off the turf, which it ends up doing. Now, obviously, we'd always like to have nice weather and stay on the turf, but be interesting to see. I imagine the favorite will be Gratefully. I didn't take a quick look at the double prices, but Gratefully, who has a big turf pedigree, did run impressively in an off-the-turf race in the slop last time, but that was first time, and sometimes they don't come back and duplicate those races, and she should take some pressure from Delightful Flame to her outside.
And it's going to be, yeah, a lot tougher going, dealing with this group. First time and against winners. That was at 5.5 furlongs, yeah. But talented, no question. She showed that in the debut. Right now, she is 2-1, favored on the board. Dylan Davis will ride. New barn taking over here. Rob Falcone Jr. more on race 3. To start this pick 6 when we come back on our Fox Sports 2 coverage. Beautiful Crazy, another contender. This one getting on dirt for the first time. It's been all synthetic and grass to this point. Stay with us.
A dynasty in motion, reshaping the sport's greatest tradition, channeling the legends of his line and surpassing them. 4 of the last 6 Derby winners carry his genes. A Golden Sun, a Horse of the Year. Another chapter written beneath those iconic spires. Derby dreams fulfilled for the titans of our industry. From authentic to sovereignty, a legacy both real and supreme. Into mischief.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
The only colt ever to win 3 one-mile Grade 1s on dirt. Ran the fastest buyer of the year. That's him, 6 wide, streaking clear. 2 more Grade 1s at 7/8. Here's his forego, also running a 112 bite. That's 5 Grade 1s all told. No other son of Sires Curlin has so many. They say, be careful what you wish for. We agree.
Well, we've been here since 1910. Started here with my great grandfather. They moved the operation from Virginia to present-day Claiborne in Paris, Kentucky. Long lineage between my grandfather, Bull Hancock, who was really influential in importing European stallions. And those stallions ended up kind of transcending the American bloodstock, and they're still evident and prevalent throughout the pedigrees today. My father, he had Mr. Prospector. He brought him up from Florida. He's had Danzig. Obviously, Secretariat was his first stallion that he ever syndicated, so he caught lightning in the bottle right off the bat, and I'm trying to do the same thing now. Certainly, we've come along and been really lucky and gotten some really good stallions along the way. Warfront's obviously in the sunset of his career. He's been unbelievable for us. We're looking for someone to fill his shoes, and we're excited about Mindframe. We think he can be that next big horse for us. Annapolis has had his first foals on the ground, and they're looking unbelievable. Certainly Prince of Monaco, he has his first that are in utero, and we're looking forward to those foals in the spring. We've really put an emphasis on our September sale this year, more so than years past. We're feeling confident that we have a really good group, and hopefully the sales results will prove that. We've had a lot of wonderful clients over the years that have really supported us and backed us, and that's been one of the main reasons why we've had the success we've had. We couldn't do it without them. It's hard to be in business for 115 years if you're not doing things the right way. Our motto is do the usual and usually well, and we've always felt like if you take care of the horse is going to take care of you, and we've certainly been lucky in that regard.
Back with you on our Thursday coverage on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well.
To me, Claiborne is synonymous with great horses. You know, with so many, the Phipps horses that came out of there, so many good horses. One horse they did not stand at stud, though, was Kelso. They would like to have if they could have reattached his testicles.
What a great.
Who wouldn't have?
1963 Woodward winner. Carried 136 pounds. This was against compact field, but a good one that included carry back. Third consecutive win in the Woodward, and secured his fourth consecutive Horse of the Year title.
I believe he won 5 Jockey Club Gold Cups, or was that Forgo? I came around luckily in time to see Forgo. I was sorry to have missed Kelso. I was sorry to have missed Dr. Fager and Buck Passer and Damascus. You know, Dr. Fager and those were 3 very good stallions when I first got in the game. So I kind of knew about them because they were stallions. And Kelso obviously wasn't as a gelding, but you saw Forgo, and every time they talked about the greatness of Forgo, it seemed like Kelso's name came up because he was kind of the heir apparent as the next gelding that came along that was an incredible racehorse. And horses carried weight back then. Their accomplishments were just remarkable. I think it's one of the reasons I get annoyed when people are just too quick to anoint the next greatest horse of all time. You don't want to ever forget these horses, especially the ones that toted around. I mean, 136 pounds. When Forgo beat Honest Pleasure at the wire, Honest Pleasure coming off a win in the Travers, a tremendous racehorse, he was giving him 18 pounds. 18 pounds. Amazing what those horses did back then.
Well, this year's edition of the Woodward don't quite have a likes of a Kelso in this group, but we do have some horses who are maybe sleeping giants, like Locked. Show you against Phileas Fogg. Early in the year, standing to handicap, it looked like Locke was probably the best older horse in the country. It has not continued on that way.
Right, and we'll talk about Phileas Fogg in a moment, who's beat Antiquarian here. Ran very well, though disqualified, rightfully so. In the Jockey Club, he still ran very well in finishing 3rd that day. He's gotten very good. I'm going to paraphrase a bit, but I was reading some comments from...
It's okay.
From the Eclipse people, who's I'm having a senior moment here, about Locked and saying what a pivotal race this is for him. Because he has been Aaron Wellman. Thank you very much. And Aaron was saying basically this is a pivotal race. I mean, this is a horse that, like you say, he could be anybody. Right now, he's nowhere.
Yeah.
It's hard to know, but I think Todd Fletcher's really tightening these screws. I love this horse post time. I mean, he is obviously compromised. It's going to be a small field. Horses are going to run out of town, unfortunately. And with post time's lack of speed, he's going to be compromised. But, man, he's such a cool, hard-trying horse. I would never count him out of any race.
Just shows up, doesn't he? 12 for 20 lifetime. Obviously, that huge effort on the big stage was that runners-up of the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. But they keep going after these targets that make you think they're thinking classic.
He's a very, very good horse. I imagine they'll go to the mile again, finishing second. He's not going to win this classic, but I think he can win this Woodward, and I'm looking forward to seeing him. I don't know. I don't know about you, Greg. I've developed an incredible, I just really like Post Time. I think he's a super, super cool horse.
I think many would agree. He's become a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Race 3, again, meant for the grass. It comes off the turf, and that is our favorite. Gratefully won that debut in a race that did come off the turf. Joining us for the first time on our programming today, hello, Acacia Clement.
Hey, Greg. Hey, Andy. And we'll take a look here in the paddock at one horse that was entered in the body of the race, as you guys are mentioning with Gratefully. Does have a pedigree to suggest that she would handle the turf, but she was very impressive when winning an off-the-turf race on debut. She won by 6 that day, and while she wasn't the quickest out of the gate, she looked to be traveling beautifully every step of the way throughout the running of that race. Now, she does make her first start for Rob Falcone Jr., serving a suspension. As we see Gratefully come in here. Slight changes in equipment, but it's kind of basically what's typical for the barn. She did wear a shadow roll first time out, now switches to a rubber figure 8 and cheater cup blinkers. Again, very typical equipment of what you'll see in the Falcone barn. She looks great, though. Great in her coat. Really the one that did kind of catch your eye when first walking in, as it's, even though it's been a rainy day, it's quite humid today, and some horses here in the paddock are getting pretty washy, or maybe their coat's starting to get a touch longer. Not at all the case with her. Still looks excellent in her coat and very, very fit coming back. While I would like to see her get a chance to try the turf one day, as she does have that proverbial turf hoof to her, she certainly showed first time out that she can handle these conditions just fine. Now, there are plenty of main track only runners in here, starting off with the 10, Hey Cookie, who now goes to the Gustavo Rodriguez barn off the claim. She had come in here off of a private purchase last time out to Saratoga, and she was a horse that was kind of the outlier in there because she'd been running against lesser company, winning for 30 over at Monmouth, but she had been working in the mornings when with Chad Summers with the Safi Joseph trainee and Alexander Helios, who's a graded stakes winning male. So that had definitely piqued some interest, and she was holding her own there, and Chad saying that she'd even been working with him before he won that graded stake at Oaklawn. So she won that day, got claimed. She comes in here for Gus, who obviously is a very sharp claiming outfit, and she looks great once again. She is a bit more settled, I will say, today than last time when she was really on the muscle, kind of touting herself, but you do see horses be a lot quieter over at Aqueduct versus up at Saratoga, where there is just so much more energy in that paddock altogether. But I think that she's a horse with some ability. She beat Golden Irish for Tom Amos, who came back to win in her next start at Churchill, improving her by her speed figure 13 points to win with an 84, so kind of validating that performance, and I think she makes a lot of sense once again, as Linda Rice does send out to the number 12, Cadena, one of them who is kind of the tried and true dirt horse of the pair. She's always a horse that I've felt physically is built like wants more distance. She's got a lot of length to her frame. She's so laid back in the preliminaries as well. Eric Cancel does climb aboard in here today, and she is one with some tactical speed. I would imagine Sail Away should be forward, even though she is cutting back in distance, and Cadena is one of those with an outside post she can kind of press to the outside. She's just a horse, I think, that takes a lot of time to get into stride, so hopefully she can find herself in that forward position soon enough. Greg?
All right. 7 minutes to post here in this third as we take a look at this 12 here, Cadena for Linda Rice.
Well, Eric Cancel is very unlikely to ever be dueling for the lead, especially the horse that's not fast enough to do so. Judging by the quick paces we've already seen today, I don't think it's unreasonable to think they'll go 21-4 or 22 flat, 44-3 or 4 to the half in this race, because you've got extreme speeds from both the 7 and 8, two horses capable of running fast fractions. You've got Hey Cookie, who's going to be chasing them towards the outside with even She's a Bombshell and Katina, so it's hard to see them not be moving up front. Cadena has the benefit of being outside the others, which may help her chances. But I also think Sailed Away, the 13, could take advantage of a fast pace. She's taking money off the claim for Linda Rice, and I think she's a very interesting alternative at price. I kind of like the 12 and 13 a little bit in the outside along with the favored 7.
Well, let's look at Cadena. There she is, the 12. Linda Rice, second off the claim. This was back at Saratoga, August 17th. Missed by a half length. Runner-up finish behind Alcala.
I think if she runs this race, she's going to win. Now, obviously, you've got a wet track, different circumstances. She doesn't have to run it. This is a track very favorable to speed. As opposed to the horse who won, Alcala, who's a genuine speed, this one had to be ridden to put herself in the game so that horse wouldn't get loose. And she played the other horse's game and still almost beat her.
And look how far back it was to third.
No, I'm very confident that if she runs that race, she's going to be tough to beat in here. But you don't know in a wet track, and maybe your last time was kind of last time was the time, as tons of money are coming in the 7, who I think is clearly a last time was the time horse. And I wonder if Sail Away, who gets Flavien Prat in here for Linda, could be interesting as a sort of more dirtied up alternative who looks a little slower, but maybe she improves for Linda and makes her good enough.
That was Linda Rice, who our cameraman was stalking. She'll have 2 in the race. Cadena, Sail Away, the 12 and 13. So 4-1, 5-1 respectively in a race that kicks off the pick 6. Tough one to start it off. Many ways to go in here. We'll get to the 7 in a moment. We start with scratches in here. We wind up with a 4 to kick things off. She's Cool, inherits the rail, blinkers on.
She's not so slow to say that she's completely out of it for a 14-1 shot.
Race 3 back makes her one of the main contenders almost, doesn't it?
I think she's got to get better to win, but I don't think she's impossible for a 15-1 shot.
Here's the favorite at 8-5, Gratefully.
Not a horse I would ever bet on, as she beat a bunch of turf horses. And even you can say, well, they're turf horses near it. No, they aren't. This race is primarily dominated by dirt horses. There were MTOs, 5 of them, yep.
Delightful Flame, David Duggan.
It feels like she dramatically improved on the turf for Dave Duggan. Her dirt races, though she's talented, just not good enough.
Here we go with the MTOs. Max Aluna, the first, Michelle Nevin.
She found the right field last time. This one is a lot tougher.
Hey Cookie, back-to-back wins, new barn here. Off
Great form. I just feel like she's a little dressed up by riding a bias to victory last time out.
She's a bombshell. Last time on dirt, impressive Wingate to wire at Monmouth.
2 races back. Oh, no, you're right. Last time on dirt. No, good point. If she could run that race, she'd have a chance. She's a big price.
Here's Cadena, who we both like.
I think she's an overlay at 4-1. You know, the 7 being 8-5. But you know, if she runs her last race, she's going to be very tough to beat.
And Pratt shows up for the other Linda Rice, first off the claim, Sail Away.
I think this horse is interesting if you're looking for a more pricey alternative to move forward off the claim for Linda. I think it's interesting that a horse who did most of running on the turf, Linda decided to go in as an MTO. She could have gone in the body of the race and tried to run on either surface. She did not.
3 minutes to post. Race 3 starts the pick 6. Reminder to everyone, $40 Friday feeder contest. Low-cost way to earn your entry into the $300 Saturday contest. Registration closes before Belmont at the Big 8. 3rd race post time on Friday. Go to NYRABets.com/contests to get involved. Good luck to everybody playing. So 9-5 on the 7 here. Philly, who debuted for Ray Handel, won first time out. Impressively blew that field away. Won by 6 lengths in a race that came off the grass. But it was 5.5 furlongs. It was a race meant for turf, and now you got to face winners and go a little bit longer.
Against dirt horses, and she could certainly win. But I don't know that she's supposed to be heavy favorite. My greatest thing about this horse is I ran to Ray Handel about, I think maybe he was on the way to the paddock to saddle this horse. I stopped and talked to him for like 3 minutes. We were talking about whatever nonsense. It never really occurred to me at any point to ask him, do you like your horse here at all? So I'm watching the race, and the horse is running off the screen, and I'm thinking, only an idiot like me would have talked to Ray for 3 minutes and not said to him, hey, is this horse any good? It just never really occurred to me, but that's sort of where my mind is at. And I'm guessing Ray didn't like her at all, and she completely surprised him that day.
Obviously showed great ability and talent in the debut, and if she can improve off that debut, going to be very tough here. Let's go to Acacia for more.
Yeah, and from a physical perspective, she honestly does look best in this field, as she is just making her 2nd start. But wanted to go back to the 11. She's a bombshell. Yes, she won by open lengths on dirt 2 back, but if you watch that race, there was a loose horse in the running of that race. So it's a tough read because it is her fastest by her speed figure with the 72. But really, Chantel Sutherland was having a tough time holding her every step of the way because she was trying to run off next to that loose horse, who was actually the one one that crossed the wire first in there. So I think it was a little bit of a tricky read in there, and not sure if it's maybe a true indication of her, because it seemed like she was never really kind of settled or switched off throughout the running, technically crossing the wire second, but behind a loose horse who had dropped the rider at the start. Altogether, she's a bombshell. She is one of those who is starting to look a touch longer in her coat, as a result making her very warm all over. It is something this time of year, especially with horses stabled up in Saratoga right now, though she is not one, you will see horses start to get a little bit longer in their coats. She warmed up fine, keeping very quiet, but like I said, I feel like she's a little bit of a tougher read than that race might indicate. The 13 Sail Away, I wanted to reserve judgment until seeing her out on the track, as she was one who did run well last time out. It's not only did she get to the lead, but she had pressure from 2 other horses early, then was dueling on the turn and never really kind of had it her own way. I know it was against lesser company, but I think that she actually did it quite well. She is a horse who does cut back in distance. She's only ever gone longer before, but Flavien Prat took her right away and gave her a big warm-up, and she did move very well out there, and she perked up a lot going on out, which I really appreciated from her, that it seemed like she got a little bit more on the muscle, a little bit more intensity, which I like to see from my sprinters, Greg.
Thank you, Acacia. Pick 6 again starts here. Let's look ahead quickly in this pick 6.
Okay.
Race 4, good luck.
Yeah, I'm going to lean in on the 1 and 9. 6 and 11 are dangerous. A lot of people probably going to single Ridgewood Runner.
Yeah, and race 5 looks like a main player there.
Pretty big lean for people. I think you and I are both. I like the 1 and 9, the 6. I think you like 1, 6 and 9. Was it
7? Huge long
shot. 7. You have a big long shot in there.
But yeah,
right?
I think the 1 and 9 are very dangerous.
I want to let people know with Scorch, because I won't be on the air. For what it's worth, Scorch broke through the gate last time out and ran off a little bit before being caught and reloaded. So it's not in the chart and it's not in the mention, but that horse Scorch did run off before the race last time out.
All right, then probably the heavy lean for people, race 7, Certified Lover Boy.
I agree. I use 2 and 3 in there for the most part.
If not in race 8 with off script, the 6.
Off script might be the biggest single of all in there coming the last race. I agree. I'll use the Miguel Clement firster in there as well.
All right, good luck to everyone playing the pick 6. Starts right here. Again, the favorite. First time against winners after a debut win, gratefully the 7. Dylan Davis back aboard. Let's go to Chris Griffin, start of the pick 6 on this Thursday card.
Hesitates right in behind the gate. Now in. Next up is Maxaluna and Cadena. Now Maxaluna. A little reluctant here. Maxaluna right in behind the gate. Now rider off the 9. Assistant starters there. Working with the 9, Maxaluna. The starter has headed towards his gate, so working with some equipment there.
So this is a look at the 9 here, and this is the reason for the slight delay. Maxaluna, as you see Ricardo Santana Jr. there waiting in the background. Let's go to Acacia.
Yeah, Greg, couldn't exactly see what took place, but it looked like the number 9, Maxaluna, when acting up and kind of throwing her head up, snapped either a piece of the bridle or part of the rein. So the starting gate crew has a box of equipment there in the back, from bridles to blinkers, everything, and they are swapping it out. Sometimes the leather ones do kind of snap a little bit easier, and it seemed when she was acting up and throwing her head up, that's what took place. So they swapped things out and looking like she is good to go. Hopefully she relaxes a little bit and minds herself, as it looks like they're struggling still to get her into the gate. Greg?
So that equipment on, is you can see, thanks for explaining that, Acacia. And we'll see, actually, are they still adjusting?
I
It's
really
like making
don't.
some final adjustments here. And now everything's squared away.
Apparently they're going to load her without Ricardo.
And there's Ricardo, and those yellow and green silks. We'll let the starting gate crew do their thing, then hop aboard. Let's go back to Chris Griffin.
We have the 9, Max Luna, in the gate. Ricardo Santana Jr. will climb aboard, and it'll be sail away to the outside. Sail away. Flavian Pratt. Sail away. Goes in. Start of the pick 6. All set. And they're off. Sail away. Was trying to break out on top, but in between horses, there's Delightful Flame, now with a head in front. Gratefully is towards the inside, and now Gratefully will challenge and puts a head in front. It's Gratefully the leader. Now a half length back, almost a full length back, will be Delightful Flame, who takes back to second. Lineup of 3, and behind them is moving forward. That's Hey Cookie is to the inside of She's a Bombshell. They're now 3rd and 4th, 21 and 4. That posted opening quarter mile. Maxaluna with a rail skimming trip is now in 5th. Encouraged to move forward. It's towards the outside. That's Cadena, who's in 6th. Behind them, that's going to be Sail Away. As they're working around the far turn, and one way at the back there is She's Cool. Towards the inside, it's Gratefully. Delightful Flame is back for more. They've got a quarter mile left to go. And now here comes Katie Davis and Dylan Davis in a stretch battle. But now Gratefully is trying to open up. Delightful Flame is very game and coming right back here. A final furlong to get. Can Gratefully get there? Can Delightful Flame run this rival down? Inside the final 16th. Gratefully to the inside. Delightful Flame to the outside. Give it to Gratefully. Dylan Davis, they get the score. Over Delightful Flame, then came Sail Away. That was a late run from Cadena. 1 minute 9.75 seconds.
Brother Abdul's sister here, Gratefully 2 for 2, and did not wilt despite going longer and tackling winners for the first time. Was sharp early out of the gate.
Yeah, as we predicted, they went just under 22 to the first quarter, 44.93 to the half, and nobody can gain this racetrack. I don't think that it's a question of these two being 5 lengths better than all the others. I don't think anybody can pick up ground this track. The number 13 tried to make a little run. She just couldn't pick up ground. And if you can't pick up ground to these horses, they're going this fast. And it's not as though the 8 had a whole lot to recommend. It just seems like you don't want horses that are going to be coming from behind in this track. Maybe that changes. I doubt it.
7, 8, 13, 12. We go to Horseshoe, Indianapolis, and Shelbyville, Indiana. 2-turn miles, allowance optional claiming race to kick off the card. 1-2 favorite Midnight West from the rail. Yeah. Cipriano Contreras comes off a win.
I don't think this horse should be this big a favorite over both the 4 and 3, but we'll see.
2-5 now. Manny Esquivel will ride. 2 wins the last 3 starts. Let's go to John Dooley for the call.
Here this season. Evan Roman, Rambo approved, went it well. One more. Joe Ramos with Friar Newton coming up. A muddy main track in New York and here in the Hoosier State for America's Day at the Races. They're in the gate. Going running out Horseshoe Indianapolis. Midnight West sharply away. Friar Newton has early speed right there toward the inside. Winter's Lion with in between horses. Secret Chat and Wide. Rambo approved has drifted back to last with just inside 7 furlongs to run. With the rail for Manny Esquivel, it's Midnight West to the lead. Very easy early lead for Midnight West, who leads them to the back of this muddy track in front by 3/4 length. Friar Newton in the orange cap, and on the outside is Secret Chat, who's running 3 wide going up the back. In the meantime, Winter's Lion closer toward that wet track rail, while 2 clear from Rambo Approved, who still trails the mile here in the Thursday opener. The first 2 of 8 furlongs covered in 24.53 seconds for Midnight West. Midnight West easily dictates them going past the half-mile pole. Joe Ramos has Friar Newton still right there with the leader. Secret Chat, 3 deep for Fernando Veracruz as they enter the far turn. Luis Contreras asking Winters Lion to pick up the front runner Midnight West. With Evan Roman, Rambo approved, remains last of the quintet. Taken through a half mile by Midnight West. The 1-5 first favorite in 48.18 seconds now on the edge of the quarter pole. It's Midnight West, Friar Newton, Secret Chat, and Winters Lion toward the inside. Rambo approved is last of the 5 as they come for home. Midnight West looking to seal the deal. 3/4 woman at 11.93 seconds for Manny Esquivel. Midnight West has a 4-length lead coming past the 16th from on the outside. Winters Lion, who's gained second, from Friar Newton, who's back into third. Secret Chat is fourth. Midnight West, and all the way winner. A length to spare over Winters Lion. Friar Newton finished third.
Winters Lion was flying late, ran out of room though. Midnight West able to control and get his third win now, his last 4 starts.
Probably not winning like a 1-5 shot should, but winning nonetheless. Here's a fun fact on the 3 Winters lineup in a second. His last win, October 6, 2023, right here at the Big A at 35-1.
How about that?
Yep.
So Midnight West, 7th career win. 6 of them coming at Horseshoe Indy. Back here, Belmont at the Big A. It's gratefully the win now 2 for 2 to start her career. Dylan Davis aboard for both. Let's go downstairs to Acacia.
I'm very happy to be joined by Matt Kuter of Delphi Racing, winning owners with gratefully 2 for 2. So seems like when it rains, it's not a bad thing for her.
Yeah, I was just joking with Joe Migliori, who does a lot of our bloodstock work and race management, that he has to Google racetracks that are in the wettest climates, and that's where we'll point to next. She clearly loves a wet track. We hope to get her on a turf track at some point, but we're not complaining.
She looks like a turf horse.
Well, I think so, but hopefully we never find out. We'll be fine this way.
As long as they're winning, right?
Yes.
And coming in, obviously, with Rob Falcone today, but getting to the lead really seemed to make the difference for her in using her speed.
Yeah, she has a lot of early speed, and she has a lot of try. She wants to do it, and it's kind of been the thing that kept her from the races, I think, up until this point. She wanted to do a little too much in the mornings, and that's a little bit of a double-edged sword, I guess, sometimes. But now that we've got her here, it's definitely working in her favor, and she's running great, and couldn't be more excited about it.
You have to give Adelphi credit, too. I mean, you have a good group of partners here. There was a nice-sized winner's circle for a Thursday at Aqueduct.
Yeah, I said before the race, we definitely won the Paddock Award. Like, we had more people than anyone else with any other horse by, like, times 10. So we won that, and thankfully we won the race as well, and we'll take both.
That's what it's all about. Congratulations.
Thanks, Acacia.
Greg?
Nice way to start your career. 2 starts, 2 wins for Gratefully, and probably the best yet to come with her pedigree on the grass.
Well, she's got a lot of turf pedigree, so I can imagine her dam won the Miss Grillo and the Lake George. She was a decent runner. We'll see if this horse can show that kind of talent. I think this track, though, may dress up the first 2 a little bit. I have a tough time thinking that horses that are trying to close have any real chance based on what we've seen so far. And this was a more competitive race in the first 2, and yet nobody could make a dent.
$6.98 on your winner. 7, 8, 13. As we move on to the start of the late pick 5, meant for the grass. Moved from 1 mile and a 16th now to 1 mile on the main track. Now, what do we do here with the surface switch?
I'm going to the 1 and 9. They're my 2 in here. I'm shocked to see the 9. The 9 is favored. No, the 6 is favored in doubles, which is crazy because the horse comes out of an off-the-turf 7-furlong race. Whereas the 9 lost to It's Our Time, who is that incredibly impressive Tom Amos runner, and finished in a photo for second, only beaten 3/4 length for second behind Hero Declared, who was the next best thing when he ran. I think the 6 is taking all that Chad Brown money, whereas the 9 is supposed to be the favorite in this race. I'm betting the 1.
We're going to take a timeout. This horse seems like he lines up in another area code, but he really comes running late. Crazy Mason, grade 1 place last time we saw him in the Forego. What will we get from him in the Vosburg on Saturday? Stay with us.
They're coming down for the finish.
and it is Silver State.
10-25, 10-25, at 25-35, 335,000.
Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back with you on America's Day of the Races here on Fox Sports 2. Equestrus reservations now available for the Joe Hurst Turf Classic this Saturday. Enjoy our premium buffet as you watch 5 graded stakes, including a Breeders' Cup Challenge Series race. Book now at NYRA.com. It's where we broadcast from as well, so you could, well, wave at us at least.
You can do that. The other thing you can do is, you know, if you're really lucky, and I know that Greg is really hoping this is the case, we're hoping the harpist is up here. We love a good harpist, you know.
Not yet heard what entertainment there will be, but it's usually pretty good. So that's all coming up on Saturday. Be part of the action. Sensational card on Saturday where it's rare. I mean, to have a horse who's won 2 Breeders' Cups, going for a 3rd, 7 years old, still in training. Rebels Romance.
The beauty of geldings, you know. When you talk about Kelso, you think of horses like Funny Side and Forgo, and now this horse, they stick around. If they can stick around in top form, it's great to have them around.
Midnight West kicks off the card at Horseshoe, Indianapolis, with a win at a very short price.
1-5. That
margin greatly diminished at the wire, but never really in doubt.
Never really in doubt, but the 3 did make it a little bit. I mean, you never, like you say. 3 was never had enough time to pass him, but he was coming at the end.
1-5. Cipriano Contreras, nephew, Manny Esquivel in the irons for the win. Back-to-back wins now for this 5-year-old. Race 2, State Bred Company, maiden specials at 6 furlongs, which we'll have more on in a little bit. Late Pick 5, back here in New York. Meant for the grass, now main track, shortened from 1.16 to a mile. And there's Chad Brown's second-time starter, Mr. Brownstown. Debut race came off the grass, as did this one. Manny Franco rides when we come back.
Connect, a Grade 1 winning millionaire, making his mark as a sire. With Rattle and Roll, a Grade 1 winning 2-year-old. Graded stakes winners Whitwater's Rand. Implicated. Apple Picker, and Forever After All. Connect, a proven sire in the making. Standing at Lanes End Farm.
It's America's original sport.
And no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you.
Introducing Peace and Justice, new to New York in 2025. A proven sire with over 200 wins, 16% wins per starts, and one of only 2 New York-based stallions to have a graded stakes winner at Saratoga in 2024. Now, with 3 different racing surfaces coming to New York, and with New York breds running for equal purses as open company, Peace and Justice is the sure choice for 2025. Peace and Justice, now standing at Irish Hill and Duchess View Stallions in New York.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you on our Thursday coverage as we get set for the start of the late pick 5 coming up on this Thursday card here in South Ozone Park, New York. And a race taken off the turf, now at a mile. And there's the one we saw going to break. Chad Brown's second-time starter, Mr. Brownstown. It was a distant second in the debut.
Chad's horses have been running extremely well after, winning that Saratoga title, but in a lot of ways not, as strong a me as we've seen from the past. Their horses have really been running down here. Having said that, and, at a mile, this horse can be somewhat forward, and he certainly could win this race. I picked him third. I think you picked him second. I don't understand why he's an overwhelming favorite to win here. Do you?
I do not.
His first race was okay, but I think there's a lot of other horses near that potential. We both are interested in the 1. I think the 9, very dangerous. Even the Obliterator, not impossible on the outside.
All right, so approaching the 8-minute mark to post. Let's head downstairs, get more on this group from Acacia.
And starting with the number 9, Supreme Good, who, as Andy touched on, ran in what seemed to be an incredibly competitive and stacked and well-hyped 2-year-old field that was won by the dazzling It's Our Time that day. But there were several others in there that had been pretty well talked about going into it, including second-place finisher Hero Declared, and I think even more throughout that. Now, the thing with Supreme Good, started out on the turf and actually did run on much better than it appears on the dirt at second asking, because while It's Our Time won by 17 3/4 lengths, the rest of the field, or those behind him immediately, were kind of in a blanket finish for second and third, and Supreme Good was running on late there and actually did break pretty well before getting outfooted, and I thought finished with some interest that day. Now, that being said, I'd written down last time and still feel the same today, that he does look a bit more like a turf horse. He was a horse that was purchased at the Tattersall's October yearling sale, but given how he ran last time, I certainly think that it's possible that he should improve a little bit more distance and can handle the main track. He's pretty washy here in the paddock. He was pretty revved up last time in Saratoga too, so not out of character for him. A horse that I do think, like I said, ran better than it might initially appear in that last race. The one Worldwide Web does get blinkers on Fort Joe Orsino, just a short cup adding on today. And this is a horse who did have a significant stumble last time, was kind of knocked off balance at the beginning of the race as well, and ran on a little bit late from there. But I think he should really appreciate the stretch out today, going 5 furlongs and then 6. He is tall, he is leggy, there's a lot of him. And it's funny, I was looking through at his pedigree, and there really is a bit more dirt overall in the breeding. So while he does have some slacker pasterns to him, I don't mind him at all sticking on the main track. And like I said, I think should really appreciate the added distance, and hopefully with those blinkers on, will be out more clean from the rail. The number 3, Lexington Pike, ran in that same race that Mr. Brownstown does come out of, but this is a horse that I thought has really moved forward from first to second start. I thought last time, and I maintain today, that he is built more like a turf horse as well and would like to see him get a chance to get onto the grass. But he is so much more settled and professional today. He is way stronger, much more refined as well in the way that he's put together. And he also gets blinkers on a short cup as well. He was struggling to keep up early in the running of that race. I don't know if he's going to improve today from a physical standpoint. He certainly has. Like I said, I would like to see him get on the grass, but I did notice a marked difference from his first to second race, Greg.
Post parade when we come back here again off the turf, shortened to a 1 mile distance for these 2-year-olds. And what a team that's become to have this guy with all he's accomplished as your assistant trainer, Jimmy Jerkins, with Ken McPeak. They're going to send out Supreme Good, who faced maybe the fastest 2-year-old in the country last time out. Stay with us.
McMahon of Saratoga Thoroughbreds, home to 4-time leading New York sires Central Banker, sire of champion New York bred Bank Frenzy.
Bank Frenzy, a hard-fought winner of the Commentator.
And multiple stakes winner Sunday Girl.
Clear winner in the John Hettinger Sunday Girl.
Also standing into mischief's Grade 1 son Provocateur. And top young stallion Solomini, sire of Mike Lee Stakes winner Doc Sullivan. At McMahon of Saratoga Thoroughbreds, celebrating over 50 years of equine excellence.
Back on our coverage here on this Thursday afternoon. Late pick 5, we start with Worldwide Web. Joe Orsino Barn.
Yeah, I think this is a very dangerous horse stretching out here with a good inside position. Expect Dylan to be aggressive with the blinkers on.
Long shot, first timer went by Foolish Mortal. Here's Lexington Pike.
I like the name Foolish Mortal. This one is a Todd Pledger horse, a Calumet horse, just did no running on a wet track first time out.
One of two, Ken McPeak, French Knight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this horse is totally impossible, but probably more likely to be effective in the turf going forward.
Rick Dutrow Jr. Barnes, Silvadar.
This horse did no running first time out at Monmouth. Did take some money at 5 furlongs and basically trailed by many the whole way.
Still favored. Chad Brown, second time start of the 6th.
No, I mean, listen, this horse can be forward, should be able to handle the distance. Plenty of things to like. I just doesn't need a short price.
You're looking good. Went long on grass debut.
Yeah, but maybe there's enough dirt pedigree in there. This horse could be effective.
David Donk, Magnum's Macro Burst.
I was interested in this horse. Give this horse another chance in the turf. Given the pedigree, we'll see if the dirt can handle the dirt.
Here's the one who faced It's Our Time, the fastest 2-year-old in the country in the debut.
I thought this horse would be favored, and I think should be favored.
Natural Shooter, Mel Giddings, Christopher Elliott.
No, you know, did run in the dirt first time out in a tough field. Didn't do a lot of running, but not impossible.
And Flavian Pratt shows up on the main track only, the Obliterator.
At least this horse improved last time out. The last effort gives him a chance.
2 minutes to post. Start of the late pick 5. Starts here in this maiden optional claiming race. You can play it all, including this pick 5 right there at Naira Bets. That's the offer, the $200 deposit match new customer bonus. When you punch in that code, you get that offer. Match 200 at sign up at nairabets.com. So World Wide Web, 5-1 here after 2 sprints on dirt. Blinkers go on and now stretches out to a mile.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of us are interested in this horse, right? I think you liked him too. I just think he ran fast enough in his 2 races to be competitive. Should be able to get the distance as a Knicks go, gets blinkers on, has the rail draw, and I think the idea, if you're Dylan Davis, be aggressive and see how aggressive the other horses are as well.
We saw Dalen be incredibly aggressive earlier on that Penn National shipper. Let's go down to Acacia.
And looking to the outside with the lone main track only, with this race really holding together when it came off the turf. As you often see some scratches, this race actually gained a runner, which was kind of funny. But as far as the Obliterator is concerned, drawing in, this one, as Andy mentioned, did greatly improve last time out. Was a little bit high-headed, I thought, behind horses, but I thought Manny Franco, who rode him that day, did a good job getting him into the race. Flavian Pratt going to climb aboard today, and he gave him a big warm-up out there on the track. I think versus his first couple of starts to what we saw last time in the improvement, he's a horse that breaks well, but then doesn't necessarily put himself into the race. I think we're going to see him be a little bit more aggressive in the way that he was ridden last time and the way that he warmed up in here today. The number 7, You're Looking Good, does have some pedigree to suggest he might handle these conditions. The second dam was all turf and synthetic, the dam unraced, but he is a half-brother to multiple New York bred stakes place horse Aggregation, who is a decent dirt horse and certainly looks like he should handle it. Unfortunately, neither Maggie nor I was in the paddock for his debut, so I'm not sure if it's normal, but he was very vocal, a little bit distracted back in the paddock. He did settle down nicely once he got out onto the track, though, and really kind of came back to Ricardo Santana with a big warm-up in there. The 5, Silvadar, I have trouble recommending him, but I do think it is interesting that he took a lot of money first time out. He is the half-brother to Grade 1 winner Chocolate Gelato, who won the Frisette early on. Yes, I think so. But she's really the only one in the family that really did any running. All of the other 3 foals were winless, and this one gets blinkers on. A short cup, a horse that I would like to see get onto the turf, as in the second generation it is more turf, and he just really looked like he has not really gained any more focus today. Still quite distracted in the preliminaries, Greg.
This race can't be as easy as 5-2 on the 6, can it?
I mean, the horse can win. I'm not surprised. I'm shocked that the 9 is not even second choice in here. A horse that I think is supposed to be favored. Doesn't make me right, but I'm surprised. I mean, listen, I think the 1, the 6, the 9, 11, the winner's likely to come from those 3. They're the first 3 choices in here, but I think that the 1 at 6-1 and the 9 at 9-2 are overlays. That's all.
Pick 5 starts here. Pool close to 155,000. Up and over that number now. Chris Griffin will kick things off here in the 4th.
Left here to the outside, Supreme Good. Natural Shooter. Natural Shooter hesitates briefly. Goes in. The Obliterator. Last to load. Is in. All set. And they're off. Hopping in the air at the start. Foolish, Mortal. Worldwide Web is flashing early speed towards the inside, and also French Knight is in the early mix. Outside of them, Mr. Brown's Town. Spread out here across the racetrack as they get set to come out of the chute. Pretty tightly bunched up front. It's Worldwide Web, and there's Lexington Pike. Now in the 2 path is ready to challenge. Lexington Pike puts a nose in front. To the inside there is Worldwide Web. 3 wide out in the center of the racetrack. That's French Knight. Just behind them, Mr. Brownstown is alone in fourth. Followed intently here as moving up on the outside. That's going to be Supreme Good. Shoved along trying to keep up. You're Looking Good. It's in that sixth spot, 22.66 for that opening quarter mile. Losing some ground with Silvadar is about to be passed to the outside here by the Obliterator, who starts to make up some ground. And the two from the back, that's Natural Shooter with Foolish Mortal. 45-4 for that pressured half-mile time. Lexington Pike has dispatched of World Wide Web, who starts to lose ground, is now back to fifth. Here up on the outside, here comes the run from French Knight, and 3 wide, a big run from Supreme Good. Supreme Good is on the move from off the pace, and here comes Supreme Good. Full run here with a quarter mile left to go. Lexington Pike is not going away, but Supreme Good is trying to run away from him. It's doing just that. It's Supreme Good. Luis Rivera Jr. just opening up with every single stride. Lexington Pike is going to try and hold second. From far out of it, the Obliterator starts to make up some ground. But inside the final 16th, no doubt, Supreme Good was dominant. Supreme Good will win it. The Obliterator will get second. Late rally there. It's a photo. Foolish Mortal with Natural Shooter in 1 minute 37 and 4.
Coming out of a dirt race where this one had faced a horse who just won the debut at Saratoga by 17+ lengths, one of the fastest 2-year-old races we've seen in Saratoga in decades, did not go off favorite, 4-1.
We can say it because we said it before the race that this horse should be favored. So it's not redboarding, we said it. And honestly, I think if you didn't know the results and you didn't know the odds, and I said to Greg, I called Greg and said, who won the 4th race? So I said, Supreme Good win the 4th? You'd say, yeah, he won by like 10 lengths. I'd say, what did he pay? $520? And you said 4-1. I think, no. Supreme Good in the 4th race. What did he pay?
Yep.
I'm sorry, but this horse ran, I know he lost by 20 lengths, but the horses that were in that photo with him aren't bad. One of them has a chance in the race on the first race on Saturday's card. This is one of those ones that you just found value, and we've talked about this in off-the-turf races. You can find value sometimes. They went just crazy for Mr. Brownstown, and with all due respect, the Kenny McPeak barn's been winning a lot of races here, and Jimmy Jerkins is clearly doing a great job with the horses in New York. And I mean, Chad Brown, but this is an insane. It's the same price as the Obliterator. That's insane.
That is absolutely insane. I know someone else who's smiling at this result as well, further flattering the form of his talented 2-year-old.
Tom Amos?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think he's watched a race from New York since he left Saratoga. What do you think?
9-11, 210.
He abandoned his friends very quickly, didn't he?
4-1.
What have you done for me lately?
Easy time of things. We get back to Horseshoe Indy Race 2, 6 furlongs in this state-bred maiden special weight race coming up. And those the two, even money. Air Up There. This is start number 3 coming up. Beaten favorite in the debut, and then runner-up next start back on September 11th.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't really a lot of good form to go on. And you've got firsters, the 1 and 3, who right now are taking a lot of money. There's not a lot of pedigree, though. There were a couple okay runners from the 1. I guess this is the likeliest winner.
The 3, Designer Tag went by.
Sorry.
Mom was a first-out winner on synthetic, produced a first-out winner on dirt. Here's Pink Picture, who went by. The 5, Rockin' Rocio.
This, to me, feels like the biggest threat, and the public agrees. Her last race was bad, but before that, she's running okay. But she's also lost at short prices.
Did have a wide trip last start. And then the 6, 17-1 outside, 0 for 10 in the money.
Yeah, this one's a little tough to like.
Minute to post, race 2 from Horseshoe Indianapolis. Let's bring in Rachel McLaughlin for more.
Hey guys, so glad to be with you here today. We got some good weather after a lot of rain this morning. Been the case here this week, but we've got a nice group going postward, and we're taking a lot of money on the 2. Air Up There, I think, is obviously the one to beat. Now, I went down to the paddock and got a look at these guys, and the 2 just looked much the best in here. 3/4 cup on the right eye just to help her kind of keep her in, in the lane, ready to go. But she feels good in the paddock. You could tell by the way she moved, and she was very, very classy and well behaved in there. Now, the one that I'm going to give you guys that if you don't want to eat the heavy price on the 2 is the 5. And right now on the board, we're looking at, it's not that much better, but 9-5 is is anything's better than 6-5, right? We're going to go with Rockin' Rockio. This one, I just talked to Cipriano Contreras, the trainer who won the opener, and he said, you know what, she's a cute little filly, and she's a little bit on the small side, so he put Jose Gutierrez, who he normally rides, Manny Esquivel, which is his nephew, by the way, but he gave this mount to Jose to try to get a little bit of an advantage with the weight because Jose is an apprentice rider. He's had an amazing meet so far. He's doing really well, and it's the end of the meet, so Cipriano said, you know, with these Indiana horses, Indiana breds, I want to try to get them in, give them as much of an advantage as they can in these races because the meet's winding down. So if you don't want to eat that low price, I'd go with the 5 here. Rockin' Rockio.
Yeah, 2-1 on the 5 right now. Did have that wide trip. You know, the 1, the dam was unraced, but did produce a 7-time winner, a 5-time winner. There's some early win pedigree on the 3, but all the money right now on Air Up There.
Well, it's hard to imagine the 1s much, the way they're getting bet in this field, but maybe they can be runners. The interesting with rumors are flying the 1. 2 of the horses from the dam were actually pretty good. The other 4 or 5 horses may have won a couple races. They weren't very good, but at least she had a couple foals that could run. There were a couple of foals from the 3 that could run. I stick to firsters, and I don't have a problem with the 2, but I don't think that she's a significantly more likely winner of this race than the 5. The only knock on the 5 is she ran so badly last time and finished well behind the 2, but she finished ahead of the 2 in that one's debut. So I don't know. I think they're relatively close, and one of those 2 should win this race.
All right, you mentioned, some good runners from the 3. Produced a stakes winner, actually. Wildcat Kate, who was a first out winner, became a stakes winner. Back to the winner's circle here in New York. Supreme Good. Nothing like getting away from the fastest 2-year-old in the country to help your chances to get your picture taken.
A friend of mine, my friend Tony, who I'm guessing is watching over in London, texted me and he said, well, you did mention this was the horse to beat about 6 times, and you know, we said it doesn't always work out, and just because we thought the horse should be favored didn't mean it had to win, but this is a crazy price on this horse, considering it. I don't know anybody that looks back on this race afterwards and got to ask themselves, how did this horse pay $10.50 in this race?
Yep. Faced It's Our Time, that sensational Tom Amoss first-time starter in the dirt debut. This one debuted on grass, so that was the dirt debut.
I would have liked him in here. Tom's horse. Still planning on seeing him in the Champagne next weekend.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
That's the plan. He's got 3
very good race.
2-year-olds.
A very good race.
So $10.54 start to the late pick 5 as we get back to Horseshoe Indy. It's going to be the last race we get with Andy Serling.
No, I'm coming back after you leave.
I was not done yet. For the next hour until you return is what I was going to say.
Well, I said it's part of my contract that I'm not on with you for more than 2 hours in a row.
Hey.
Actually, no, it's part of your contract that you're not on with me for more than 2 hours in a row. And you guys are going to get a lot of Acacia. Acacia will be closing out the show. She'll be on with you, and then she'll be hosting with me at the end. So it's Acacia all the time. And you picking these kids up at school?
I will not be there in time, no.
No? Okay.
But one of my favorite, we're going to see Baby Yoda this weekend. She has a Baby Yoda who she calls Baby Yoga. So
Really?
I'm going to have to put some money on Baby Yoga this weekend.
They going to bet in her usual 100 to win?
She fires.
Listen, we respect that.
Look,
You should be shot to gamble early.
Even money. I kid. Air Up There. Short price here. The 3rd time be the charm. We'll see. Beaten favorite first time out. Runner up in start number 2. And a short price here in this 3rd one. But again, Rockin' Rocio, the 5. Wide trip last out. Trying to break that maiden here in the 5th try. John Dooley, the call. Here's a second from Horseshoe Indy.
Partner's Pink Picture wended well 2 back. Rockin' Rocio. Jose Gutierrez claims the 7-pound apprentice allowance with 34 career wins. At 6 furlongs, 1 more. Evan Roman and 10-time started Yo to win. Main track remains listed muddy. Second of the day from Horseshoe Indianapolis. They're in the gate. And they're off. Rockin' Rocio broke sharp for Jose Gutierrez. Yo to win hustled toward the inside. Air Up There with early interest. And Pink Picture has come out running in 4th. Toward the inside, the first-time starter. Designer Tag making headway with the white helmet. And the newcomer, Rumors Are Flying, has dropped back to last after a furlong and a half. It's Rockin' Rocio. So Rockin' Rocio, the leader, in front here of Air Up There by just over 2. So break goes 6 more. Designer Tag being driven now at the 3.5. Pink Picture follows in 4th. Yo to win wide from post 6. And finally, Rumors Are Flying. Around the far turn, quarter was 21.89 seconds. Coming toward the quarter pole, it's Rockin' Rocio. Rockin' Rocio leads by 2.5 to Air Up There, who's second by 9 as these maiden fillies come for home. Designer Tag with Rumors Are Flying in the purple cap, Pink Picture, and finally Yo to Win. Well into the stretch, half mile 45.29 seconds with Jose Gutierrez. Rockin' Rocio leads Pink Picture by 4 past the 16th. Rumors Are Flying into third from Pink Picture, then Yo to Win. Designer Tag dropped away. Rockin' Rocio rolling in the mud. Rockin' Rocio won by 6 from Air Up There. Yo to Win third. Rumors Are Flying back and forth.
Sharp early, and that was a good indication that she was ready to roll today.
I like the plan. I like the ride. The 2 cleared to be much faster. The 2 had been ahead of the 5 both times they had met, and the connection said, okay, we can't beat the 2 from behind. Let us see if she can beat us from the front, and it was never in doubt. Rockin' Rocio.
Cipriano Contreras with another victory. He's taking the first 2 on the card this afternoon. I believe 9-5 second choice with the win there. So, quick break. I trust you'll be watching in your time off. Okay. Maybe not.
I will be watching. Yes, no, of course I'll be watching. I'll be watching. What else am I going to do? All I do is watch racing. It's my entire life.
We know it. Acacia Clement joining me after this short timeout. We'll be back with more, including looking ahead of the weekend in the Woodward. Gustavo Rodriguez and Phileas Fogg, his speedster, trying to get back on track. We'll have a preview when we return.
The brilliance of the legendary Arrowgate and the speed and stamina of the sire of sires, Uncle Mo. Introducing Petulante, the first son of Arrowgate to stand in New York after winning handily at first asking.
Petulante! He's got a kick here, and he's going to prove much the best.
He won or placed in all 7 of his lifetime starts, including the Grade 3 Salvatore Mile.
Petulante, Nimbus class, Petulante!
Petulante, now standing in New York. For information, visit IHDVStallions.com today.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Cyberknife was a very talented horse from day one. A very gifted, fast horse, a lot of speed, able to carry it around 2 turns. Looks a tremendous amount like Gun Runner, same ability and talent, beautiful physical, outworked every horse on the board. Holds the track record in the Haskell. He won it in impressive fashion, beating a very good group of horses.
And Cyberknife has won the TVG.com Haskell over Tama. Jack Christopher finished third.
The Arkansas Derby was one of his best. Showed how much talent he really does have and stamped himself as one of the best 3-year-olds in the country.
His name is Cyberknife!
Cyberknife ranks up there as one of the most talented horses I've ever had in training. Multiple Grade 1 winner, brought it every time you let him over there. Excited about him passing on his durability, his soundness, and his talent. And if he does, he could definitely be a breed-shaping stallion.
Aqueduct is the only racetrack within the confines of the 5 boroughs of New York City and faced intense competition from several other tracks located in the vicinity. True to its nature, the racetrack not only survived, but thrived. Aqueduct underwent an extensive 3-year overhaul and reopened on September 15, 1959, to much fanfare, as it was one of the most modern facilities of its kind. In 1960, Aqueduct presented its first Wood Memorial. The race is New York's premier prep race for the Triple Crown and remains one of the track's signature events, along with the Cigar Mile Handicap and Remsen Stakes. Aqueduct was the first and only track to have a triple dead heat win in a stakes race when Brownie, Bousset, and Wait a Bit hit the wire in tandem. In 1965, it was the site of the largest crowd ever to witness a thoroughbred race at that time in the Empire State, when more than 73,000 packed the stands to see Gunbow in the Metropolitan Mile. The legendary Cigar began his famous 16-race win streak at Aqueduct. He scored impressively in the 1994 Naira Mile as part of that win streak. The race was named in Cigar's honor after he retired in 1997. The last racetrack Secretariat placed his hooves upon was Aqueduct. He was retired there before commencing his stud career at Claiborne Farm. Aqueduct was the second track to host the Breeders' Cup in 1985 and was one of the first sporting venues where Pope John Paul II held Mass in 1995.
Back with you on our Thursday coverage here, Week 3 action. Belmont at the Big A here in South Ozone Park, New York, as we get set for the Late Pick 4 coming up. We're approaching the 10-minute mark to post. Here in race 5 off the turf all afternoon. Joining me on set, Acacia Clement. Good to see you with our best races here yet to come.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Luckily, it seems like the rain is kind of paused, at least for the afternoon. It's pretty humid out there, but certainly good news as far as that's concerned. But yeah, we're really looking forward to this weekend as well with all of those big stakes.
Yeah, a lot of big races, which we could see these winners not even just show up on Breeders' Cup. These might be some of the horses to beat. Certainly Rebels Romance, two-time winner, Breeders' Cup Turf. We'll see back in action as we look at that loaded lineup on Saturday. Includes the Woodward. See if Locked can get back on track. But really one of, we were talking about it earlier when Andy was on the show too. One of just the coolest horses in the game right now, post-time, who just continually shows up. And I would gotta think Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile again, don't you? The way he's been running, but they keep going in these longer races.
I think it's almost that he enjoys the turns. You know, he enjoys the 2 turns of the mile and an eighth. We saw him last out in the Whitney. We saw him win Disputed Testimony, going a mile and an eighth out Laurel. He did win the Polynesian last time at a mile, but it was a 3-horse field, and he just far outclassed what he was facing in there. But in this effort, it was really, I think, a big step showing that he can handle the mile and an eighth. Now, it is interesting because going to the dirt mile at Del Mar, like he did last time, he will get a chance to navigate those turns. Finished a good second behind Full Serrano that time, for Serrano, excuse me, in that dirt mile last year. He's been incredibly consistent and such a cool horse. He obviously has a lot of character. If you've seen him train, he's jumping and bucking and rearing all over the place. But he's
not an easy horse to ride either, right?
Not an easy horse to ride, but he certainly knows how to turn it on for race day.
Team Russell with the 12-time winner, over $1.4 million in earnings. Meanwhile, Phileas Fogg, great story for trainer Gustavo Rodriguez, delivered him the biggest win of his career with that Suburban victory, and now going to try and get back on track after being rightfully DQ'd in that Jockey Club Gold Cup.
He was. He did come over at the start in the Jockey Club Gold Cup last time. However, if you watch the Suburban two-back, he kind of veered out at the start there too. So while he is sharp, he does have the tendency to kind of go towards where the field is, but he has speed. He won the Suburban over Antiquarian, and I think a lot of questions for many of us going into that Jockey Club Gold Cup was if the horses from the Suburban really stacked up. Now, Antiquarian won, and before the DQ, we did see Phileas Fogg finish third. Of course, it was not the kind of running of the Jockey Club Gold Cup we would have thought, but it really, I thought, validated that big effort from both horses in the Suburban.
There's Gustavo Rodriguez. Great job he's done with that horse. Is the biggest question mark horse, not just in this race, maybe in the game, Locked?
Yes, he is one of those horses that when he shows up, he is absolutely brilliant. And sometimes he doesn't show up. He didn't show up in the Suburban where he was a heavy favorite that day and finished a disappointing third. I know that this has been the plan all along for him, for trainer Todd Pletcher, to go to the Woodward, and we'll see what the future does hold. It's obviously in there, but I imagine at times he's a bit of a frustrating horse.
Woodward winners to go on and win the Breeders' Cup Classic. Take a list, the last to do it. That was, of course, when it was at Saratoga. Gun Runner back in 2017. Pretty good list right there.
Yeah, pretty good company for sure. Gunrunner was dazzling in that year's Woodward and on that impressive tear that he was, but some really talented horses in that group. I think we'll see who is in the starting gate this weekend. Some horses cross-entered throughout some of those stakes throughout, but we'll see if any of them, I think, perhaps Locked, maybe the likes of Phileas Fogg's, post time for sure, some of those horses who could be kind of the big ones that you would want to see in the Breeders' Cup.
Well, Gustavo Rodriguez, who will have, Phileas Fogg. We saw him saddling up Rhythm Nick. Got the 5 in here, but this is the horse to beat as the board reflects. Even money, Ridgewood Runner. Carlos Martin Barn, outside post, and just been facing a lot better company. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
That is the truth, Greg. As Ridgewood Runner, your favorite here, I have no problems with him. But I've got to say, there were 2 other horses in here that really caught my eye, including the one that has never run on the NYRA circuit before for Rob Atras. That's number 3, Tiger Moon, as he comes in off of a protected effort. Actually, his 2 first races for Rob have been protected, as he's now offered up for the 40, and they claimed him for 32. And it says 4 wide and no close in the short comment line. This guy was 4 wide the entire mile and a 16th around there. I mean, he lost every inch of ground, and I thought he stayed on evenly. And for the ground that he lost, it would have been a lot closer if he hadn't. Those 3 lengths would have likely been maybe 3/4 of a length, if that. He looks phenomenal here, and I know the Atras Barn isn't quite winning here in New York like they used to, but nonetheless, their horses still look phenomenal, and this guy just so well turned out. He's dappled head to toe. He's been forward and engaged here in the paddock. He's a good-looking sort where I do think this 1-turn mile should suit him nicely. So I like what I'm seeing from Tiger Moon. And then one I wasn't expecting to necessarily like is number 5, Rhythm Nick, as he'll stretch out for the first time in a long time. And really, physically, he looks as though he should handle it. And it feels like Gustavo Rodriguez does have success with this move. I haven't looked up his stats, but just thinking about a horse like Bramido, for instance, he won when Gustavo did this. This horse looks better behind. He looks stronger behind. His muscle mass and conditioning have improved. So he's one that should be forwardly placed in here, Greg, that I think is quite interesting.
It depends what Eric Cancel does. He has this horse, the 5, has the ability to be the speed of the speed. How aggressive will Cancel be? We'll find out. Here's Systemic Change, Ilkay Cantermachi Barn.
Drops it back down to the 40,000, was claimed for 25, 2 back, just faced tougher last time.
Lost in Rome, double-digit odds.
Stretched out and drops back in distance. Just a horse that is typically left with a lot to do closing.
Yeah, Tiger Moon, big figures out of town, the most recent at Delaware.
Yeah, very intriguing, as he was wide last time out throughout every step of that race.
Here's the quick Rhythm Nick. Gustavo Rodriguez off the claim.
And I think stretching out and with the speed that he does possess, if he can clear, that would certainly be a feather in his cap.
And the one to beat, Even Money, Ridgewood Runner.
And as you said, a horse that's just been facing much better throughout. Even that $50,000 claiming race last time at Saratoga was a pretty stacked group for the level, and it was his first time with blinkers back on.
Let's look at the favorite in action. Not just facing a lot better, and this was back on June 7th in a runner-up finish on a sloppy seal track to Pentathlon, against better company and very good on off tracks too.
He is, and that's a big point that you mentioned for his wet track form. He has a win, 2 seconds and a third, including this second this day back in June up at Saratoga Pentathlon. Certainly a horse that would be an incredibly short price in here, and he had a good trip that day coming up the rail under Ricardo Santana. Luis Rivera is going to be aboard today. He is a horse that does have the ability to be a little bit more forwardly placed, getting a big warm up there too, and I think that his tactics with the outside post should certainly help him. I know it's been a little bit of time since he's won, but I think last race aside, he has just been facing really tough company. Pentathlon, Surveillance, 24 Mamba, Rodney, very good horses in the running lines.
Yeah, Gunnitz in there, who's an 8-time winner, has won almost $850,000 in his career. Those are his prices from Horseshoe Indianapolis, and we'll have more coming up in just a little bit. They're off the turf, by the way. That next race meant for the grass has come off. But first things first, 4-5 now on Ridgewood Runner as we take a look at the 3. So Tiger Moon, and it has seemed like, we'll see, but it has not been the easiest thing to do to make up a lot of ground today on this racetrack.
No, that certainly has seemed to be the case, as we'll see what happens with this horse tactically. Manny Franco climbing aboard. I did think last time watching that race at Delaware where he actually broke pretty well, but he was unable to drop in and save any ground at any point in the race. He was wide throughout, made a wide move, and he ended up just kind of flattening out a touch late, but did hold on for second as the winner was best in there. So I think it's a little bit better than it might even look. He's a horse that certainly has some ability. I guess tactically is really just the biggest question for him.
Let's head back down to Maggie.
Yeah, that's the biggest question mark. Acacia, you're absolutely right. But it does feel like it's tough to make up significant ground. We did see Supreme Good close from a little bit off of it. So I'm hoping that there is some pace, but that Manny Franco does not let Tiger Moon get too far out of it, because arguably he also has the best wet track form too. He looks sensational on the track too. But let's check in with your favorite. That's number 7, Ridgewood Runner. Now, there seems to have been some hesitation to stretch this horse out. So now he's going back to a mile. He is rather quiet, which, okay, conserving energy to get a little bit more ground, I don't mind. But this is a horse that I have routinely seen just be a little bit more aggressive than what he is today. He's never really picked up the bit necessarily in the warm-up with Luis Rivera. I respect his form coming in here. I just wish he spoke to me a little bit more as a 4-5 favorite, at least in the physical sense. And number 1 is Systemic Change. And last time out, I thought he was allowed to be shuffled back early, and then he made a belated kind of wide run through the stretch behind what was a fairly tepid pace for a mile up there at Saratoga. So I thought he ran a bit better than it may look first off the claim here for Ilkay Cantermasi, beaten by the favorite Navajo Warrior that day. And if anything, he's actually bulked up a little bit behind. I thought going back a ways, to early July, he looked a bit light in his hind end, and he's kind of put on some weight and conditioning. He did get a little bit hot, but we have seen throughout the card today that horses are kind of being that way, especially with the humidity and still running through it. So not too concerned about that for your second choice in here. But I'm sticking with number 3. That is Tiger Moon. Hopefully the stars will be aligned today, Greg.
He's run some really big races, the 3 Tiger Moon, including that last out. A lot better than looked, I think, in what he earns in terms of what he earned Beyer-wise in that effort at Delaware. And we'll see. He has, as Maggie mentioned, has had the ability in the past to stay somewhat close. So we'll see if Manny Franco is aggressive and tries to keep pace early on here.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's very intriguing, and good to hear he got positive notes from Maggie. As far as the 1 Systemic Change is concerned, he is a horse that at one point was able to kind of be in a little bit of a stalking spot, maybe going a touch longer sometimes as well. But last time out, and I know it was against Better, but he was several lengths back behind the rest of the field. If the track is indeed tough for closers today, he might be one that is hindered perhaps the most.
He's taking a lot of money, though.
He is. He is.
Wow.
Well, he was impressive, too, back when he won.
2-1 on that Rail Runner Systemic Change. Rosario rides, but even money. Deserving favorite outside with the steady drop in class for Ridgewood Runner and trainer Carlos Martin. Let's send it upstairs. Here's the 5th start of the late pick 4. Chris Griffin, the call.
Loading here for today's 5th. 2 out. Rhythm Nick and Ridgewood Runner to the outside. Goes in, all set. And they're off. Rhythm Nick broke very beautifully up on the outside. Rhythm Nick has the lead early. Towards the inside is going to be Systemic Change. Is going to take back now. Is going to press on. Is going to be Lost in Rome. Is trying to join the leader, who's got an easy going of it so far as they get set to come out of the chute. It's mild pressure here for Rhythm Nick and Eric Cancel out in the center of the racetrack. And now here comes Ridgewood Runner trying to cut into the margin, pretty tightly bunched up front. At the rail, that's going to be Lost in Rome, who's now a shared 2nd and 3rd with in behind horses Tiger Moon. Systemic Change is at the back end of the field, 23.47. Easy opening quarter here. Rhythm Nick just gliding along early is up by a length. Lost in Rome at the rail, starts to make up some ground, is now still sharing that second and third spot with Ridgewood Runner. Encouraged to keep up as Rhythm Nick takes him into the far turn through a 46.39 half-mile time, has controlled the tempo up top, and Rhythm Nick and Eric Cancel still clear. Ridgewood Runner starts to get the cue here from second, shoved along on the far outside. That's Tiger Moon. Systemic Change has got a lot of ground to make up, but dropping back, Lost in Rome. They're approaching a quarter mile left to go. Rhythm Nick is trying to finish the job right now. Rhythm Nick now sprints for home. Rhythm Nick is still up by about 3. Systemic Change is rallying on down towards the inside. Starts to make up some ground on this clear leader. Rhythm Nick, now Systemic Change is going to switch to the outside for an outside path. Rhythm Nick, Systemic Change. Rhythm Nick, a confident Rosario in the saddle on Systemic Change. Systemic Change will push on by and win. Systemic Change wins it over Rhythm Nick and Ridgewood Runner in 1 minute 35 and 4.
Systemic Change had to shift gears, move to the outside, and rolls on by Rhythm Nick.
Yeah, able to come on, and even heard it in Chris Griffin's call. And it did seem, because typically Joel Rosario is somebody that does actually like to close at the inside and stay on the rail as long as possible. It seemed like he was intent on getting this horse outside and not impeding the momentum. A little bit tough to tell from the pan shot, but not sure if the 5 Rhythm Nick was maybe getting a touch leg weary, stretching out in distance here and maybe drifting a little bit. So deciding to tip out with Systemic Change. And while he did come from off of it, he was nowhere near as far back as he has been in some of his recent efforts, and I do think that that made a difference, as he was the best horse in the race today.
Rhythm Nick tried to do it on the front end, comes up short, and Ridgewood Runner a little disappointing here.
Yeah, he was kind of pressing outside throughout, but never kicked in late.
1.573 Rosario for the Cantermachi barn. 8th career win for this 6-year-old son of Go Sapper. Prices when we come back.
Saturday on America's Day at the Races, 5 graded stakes races, including the Joe Hurst Turf Classic and the Vosburg, presented by Army Mule, a win and you're in challenge for the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Join us Saturday, 12:30 Eastern on FS2.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Back with you on our Thursday coverage on Fox Sports 2, and we head over to Horseshoe Indianapolis, race 3. They're off the turf today. This was meant for the grass. Main track now, and it is the main track only. Jordan's Deal, the 13, who has just clicked down to 8-5. Blinkers on, been facing a lot better company. Let's go to Rachel for more.
Yeah, you guys, I noticed that as well, and I went ahead and called Tim Eggleston to see why the 2 best races that she ran, she had blinkers on, and they decided to take them off. And he said, you know, it seemed like with the blinkers on, for lack of a better word, she wanted to get beat. She was more interested in what was going on. Tim said, we took them off. It made her really anxious. She was really nervous. She was watching too much. And so he thought, you know what, that didn't work. We're going to put them back on. He said she was over racing a little bit with the blinkers, trying too hard, wasn't very comfortable. So yeah, we're going to put them on and see if she just relaxes a little more, which is really important, you know, with younger horses. She's only 3, and he's hoping that she wants to win today. She's got early speed. And for those of you who don't watch Indiana a whole lot or haven't kept up, it really has been very front end speed favoring. Obviously with a wet track, you know, that does kind of favor speed. That's definitely happening. And yesterday we saw that a lot of the time. Almost every race, with the exception of race 5, Chris Landeros won closing. Everything else was on the front end. They were going really quick in 21 for the sprints. So you just really kind of today I focused on trying to find horses with early speed, and if you look at her, she just really gets out clean from the gate, and she's kind of a need the lead even when she hasn't raced well. She is always in the very beginning of these races. Mitchell Merle with a riding triple this week as well, so he's riding pretty well here. Very happy to have him move his tack here to Indiana. The 4 Heart of Stone interests me a little bit, and right now at 12-1 I'll take that over this 3-2 on the 13. Evan Roman aboard for trainer Michelle Elliott. And I talked to Michelle, and I mean, when you're going from a maiden race, a straight maiden race, it's the biggest drop to drop down to maiden claiming. I just think this is going to be a completely different horse than what it's shown. I think she hasn't ran to her potential. Michelle said she really likes this filly, but she's had a couple tough trips. Nothing's really gone her way. She was steadied. She got bumped in one of them. So that's my long shot in this race, but I'm going to have to go with MTO. Just looks too good in this spot, guys.
Yeah, 6-5 favorite seems warranted. It's a huge drop in class. This one has speed, even though cutting back from a longer race on the grass. A lot to like with Jordan's Deal. As we get back to New York, systemic change. Joel Rosario just kind of waited, eased out, and then rolled on by the speed.
As systemic change dropping back down into a claiming race seemed to make the difference. $6.78 winner. Rhythmic ran well, trying to take them every step of the way. Maybe got a touch leg weary at the end with the stretch out in distance.
157 finish, $6.78 on your winner. We'll get to the 6th when we're done here at Horseshoe Indianapolis for this 3rd. So who potentially is a thorn in the side of the favorite? There's a couple with some speed in here.
There are. It does look like Jordan's Deal is perhaps the quickest early. I mean, for me, it's not just horses that can get to the lead, but it's the kind of gate speed that they have, and she's always right on top 1, and the blinkers going back on today. Is Rachel giving some insight about that equipment change in here. My Strong Heart does have some speed, but she has been exposed to claiming levels before, and then Goff showed speed last time, but it was going longer, and she's cutting back in here today. So I would imagine we're going to see Jordan's Deal be on the front end, and we'll see if she can sustain that speed today.
Clicks down to even money as we start this load, the 13. Big drop down in class. She has been quick every single time we've seen her, and this is the easiest field by far she will have ever faced. John Dooley with the call. Here's race 3 off the turf, Horseshoe Indy.
Now, My Strong Heart, Joseph Romero claims the 7 pounds. Brouhaha, Joe Ramos with 66 winners here this season. Evan Roman with Heart of Stone coming up. There's the white dots on the black sleeves. Martin Garcia with Maria Moon. Midnight West and Rock and Rocio, our first two winners here on this muddy track. Marcelino Pedrosa Jr. Partners Sheila, Goth. The starters crew working here with Goth. Fernando de la Cruz, the meet leader. Goth is in, back on board. The more than ready filly, leading jockey here this season. Fernando de la Cruz goes back on board. Goth. One more. Mitchell Morrow with Jordan Steele runs his main track only for Tim Eggleston. This one of three taken off the Caesars course here at Horse Indianapolis. All main track card, muddy, at 5 furlongs. All in line. Ready. Jordan Steele now getting fidgety in the starting gate. Set. And they're off, and Jordan Steele hopped in the air at the start. That might prove costly. The speeds drop back to last. My Strong Heart sharply away with Goth quick to challenge her. Mam Cross right there with the rail as they streak past the half-mile pole. Then comes Brouhaha with Total Class now making a move between horses. We've lost a horse there. Losing the rider was Heart of Stone. Heart of Stone has unseated Evan Roman after a couple of furlongs where Goth has taken the lead from My Strong Heart, and they've opened up an 8-length lead on Mam Cross in third, Total Class in fourth, Brouhaha is fifth. With toward the inside as they turn for home. Crystal Frost on the far outside. Maria Moon is next with Brouhaha, and finally Sheila. Losing the rider was Heart of Stone. They're coming down toward the final furlong with Joseph Romero. In front here is Goth. Goth leads here for Fernando de la Cruz from My Strong Heart, and Goth is opening up on them. 9 lengths past the 16th. Total Class into second. Late run by Jordan Steele, who was left at the post. Goth wins by 6. Jordan Steele was second, Total Class third, and Crystal Frost finished fourth.
With the win, a little bit lucky potentially here. Jordan Steele, likely best, had a horrible start at the gate, ran on to get second, and we saw Heart of Stone drop the rider. So we'll try and get you an update as soon as we can.
Yeah, eventful race there as the inquiry sign has been posted, I'm sure, in regards to the 4 Heart of Stone losing the rider there. But yeah, the 13 Jordan Steele, a filly who has been on the front end every single one of her starts, leaping up in the air at the break. And she actually ran on to finish second, her first time coming from off the pace. So Goth inheriting the lead and going gate to wire.
We're going to take a timeout. When we return, we'll preview the weekend ahead. And a horse who comes from another zip code in his races, Crazy Mason. He's exciting to watch. Grade 1 place last time we saw him. We'll preview him next.
Bright future indeed. Bright future, the son of Curlin to win by 4. Bright future, Proxy, here's the line. Photo finish, Bright future.
Bright future, look at that. Bright future, the class prevails.
Bright future, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're never more here than when you're here. Here is more than just a horse race. Here is where you want to be. And here's the horse that's going to make it happen.
They're off in the Breeders' Cup.
Here she is, coming around the final turn.
Another stretch.
Making sure that this year, you won't be anywhere else, but here.
Archangelo, the Belmont winner in charge. The Grade 1 Whitney to Arthur's ride.
And a Dare Manor will take the Clementelle Hirsch. Olympiad gets the gold. It is Timberlake who's going to win.
Tap it twice. Tap it twice.
Sierra Leone in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you on our Thursday coverage. You're watching America's Day at the Races. Rolling through Times Square. Week 3 action where things start to heat up big time this weekend with a lot of Breeders' Cup prep races coming up on Saturday. Up to the race 6 on our Thursday card, our Spendthrift Farm 2-year-old race of the day. Meant for the grass, main track now, sprinting 6 furlongs in this maiden optional claiming field where the speedster from the Royal Never Heather speeding backed up in the debut, right now the favorite.
Yeah, horse that went right to the front, ended up flattening late to finish 5th, but imagine with the rail in here once again, much like in her first race, we will see if she'll get to the front end once again.
Vosburgh, part of this incredible lineup coming up on Saturday afternoon, and we're going to see a rematch of a couple of runners who got to know each other at Saratoga this summer in the Forego. Crazy Mason, I'm such a fan of this horse and how he does it. Kind of needs a setup, but he's very good when he's closing late.
Yes, he is, and he's a horse that did finish 3rd in the Grade 1 Forego last time out. I'd actually kind of forgotten about that because he just comes from so far back. When he won the Carter here back in April, he was legitimately 10 lengths behind the rest of the field and just came rolling late. He tends to not switch his leads. Last time out, he actually did in the Forego, but he just kind of has that big momentum, and Manny Franco handles him really well. It's hard with a horse like that to not want to try to get them into the race a little bit more, but you have to just let him do his thing.
That was him involved early, too.
I know. For his standards, that was pretty forward.
2nd, 3rd, 4th place finishers all coming out of that Forego, of that trio that includes Scotland, obviously. Who do you prefer?
Well, I thought Scotland ran really well that time. That was a pretty exciting finish for him. Have to give him a lot of credit for that as well. He's a horse that I think has maybe taken a little bit of a step forward as a 5-year-old. I know that he hasn't necessarily won, but I think he's run 2 good races so far. I'm really looking forward to this race.
That's race 9, 7 furlongs coming up on Saturday. Back to our Spendthrift Farm 2-year-old race of the day, and there's our current favorite, Never Heather, speed in the debut, backed up for Gregory Sacco. Let's go down to Maggie for more.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that Vosburgh either. Really looking forward to Saturday's entire card as we'll take a look here at your favorites and beginning with that Greg Sacco trainee and number 1, Never Heather. Acacia, she was in the paddock first time out, so she can speak to her appearance in that debut a bit more than I can, but I really like what I'm seeing here. You know, a lot of times with speedy types of fillies in their second start as juveniles, they can get a little bit nervous. They can get a little edgy. That is not the case whatsoever. She is quiet, calm, content here in the paddock, and furthermore, she just looks athletic. You know, she looks like that dirt sprinter. I know they had to enter her for the turf here, but again, I think with this race coming off and the experience that she gained, and really I know she was beaten the 9 lengths, but she really ran well because she was battling early with a horse who was 4-1, and that horse finished way further up the track than she did, and obviously Spirit Doll was highly regarded that day, and she came from much further out of it. So Never Heather, a really dominant, I think, type of favorite in here, but obviously Scorch might have something to say about that, and she's one that weirdly in her debut I thought she looked a bit weak. And 2, I thought she'd want the turf more. Then in her second start, she had bulked up considerably and she got to the turf like we wanted to see her, but unfortunately she broke through the gate that day, and very rarely do they run well after that occurring. So today she finally looks coupled with the strength, with the fitness. She is nice and calm here in the paddock for trainer Fernando Abreu. Sorry about that. But obviously she ran well enough on this type of surface first time out to make her a major player in here. I would still love to see her have a fair shot at the turf, but again, these sealed racetracks, they can mimic the turf a bit more, and definitely based upon appearances of her 3 starts, this is arguably her best time in the looks department. As number 10, total wild card with Avery's Wonderland. I watched that race head on, pan, and she took several bumps coming out of the gate. Then it looked as though while she was behind the field, not to be handling the kickback, maybe something going a little bit amiss too behind with her as she was pulled up and received a ride home that day. Boy, is she a good-looking filly. There is a lot of her. There's a lot of substance. She came in here like a bull in the china shop. She might be a little bit green there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, number 3 acting up severely here with the rider trying to get up. Winruski, as getting back to number 10, Avery's Wonderland. She was just worried about the puddle. She doesn't like to get her toes wet. Well, she's going to have to today. I'm wondering, though, Greg, if we do see a bit more speed from her, if she gets away cleanly. Obviously, that outside post is going to do her some favors in that department, but she looks better than that first race would suggest.
Good sign. I mean, she was the X factor of this race. We just don't know because her race was over so early in that debut.
Yeah, and I was in the paddock for Avery's Wonderland, and she was not only incredibly green in the paddock, but she was not moving the best in the warm-up. So I was actually a bit surprised that she stayed in when the race came off the turf today, but I think it's a good sign. And the fact that she's acting better in the paddock, per Maggie's comments today, I think is a real plus as well. And on top of that, we have seen the barn be going a lot better now that we've gotten back over to Aqueduct versus what we did see back in the summer up in Saratoga. So maybe something to pay attention to at a big price.
Start our post parade off with the speedy filly for Gregory Sacco, second-time starter, Never Heather.
She was one that I liked a bit first time, just thought that she needed to strengthen. And so certainly with a race under her belt and the speed she showed, she's very logical today.
Winruski back on dirt, and actually the dirt debut Gulfstream showed some tactical ability.
She did, and she faced Iron Orchard, who became a stakes winner after that race, and her second dirt start was just kind of run off her feet. Bit of a naughty actor back in the paddock today.
Zuby with a little winnerly pedigree, first-timer George Weaver.
She certainly is. By Vacoma, there is some turf in the pedigree as well, and she has been working on the turf, but does stay in. Could be a vote of confidence.
Ken McPeak, win on the card already, has Blazing Bridget.
This one is much more of a dirt pedigree on the bottom side as well. Let's see what this can do. Daughter of Uncle Chuck, who's the son of Uncle Mo.
Catholic Vice, second dam, was 7 for 11 lifetime stakes winner on the dirt for Dwayne Lucas.
Yeah, there is some pedigree in there, and a little bit in the siblings, though they're not much altogether, but handling both surfaces. She's one who maybe could just step forward altogether.
Here's Gigi Cakes, Mel Giddings, and Blinkers come off.
Blinkers coming off on this one. Did debut in an off-the-turf race. Has had some trouble at the gate, so we'll see if the blinkers coming off do help her, maybe seeing her competition.
Here is Scorch, Fernando Abreu.
Another one who's had gate issues. As Maggie said, breaking through the gate last time. She was acting up in the gate on debut, so hopefully she can keep things together before those gates do open.
And this outside runner, Rick Dutrow Jr. barn, Avery's Wonderland, whose debut race was over early.
Such a wild card in this one. It wasn't a very fast race as far as the horse was moving forward. Victory Hall got beaten her subsequent start, and Boloro, the second place finisher, did win, but with a 45 by her speed figure. But like I said, I think it is a plus that we do see Avery's Wonderland staying in today.
15-1 being forgotten. From that outside post, back to Never Heather, the speedster from down inside, and faced Spirit Doll, who, you know, off that debut win would go to the spin away. It was a huge price, finished 6th of 7th, so didn't do a whole lot, but regarded enough to be put into that race. And speed is always dangerous, especially today. It's been very good.
Yeah, absolutely. And a horse that did get right up to the lead, breaking from the rail on debut, which, you know, a lot of horsemen always are disappointed when they see the post position draw and see their 2-year-old first-time starter drawing the rail. But I always am encouraged by a horse that shows speed first time out, because they certainly have shown a little bit of something. Coming back here, they should theoretically be fitter, stronger in their next start. And if they're able to use that speed yet again, certainly makes her incredibly dangerous. And she was a big price that day, but I thought actually hung around a bit longer than she might get credit for.
Start number 2 coming up. She's the 5-2 favorite. Meanwhile, here's a first-time starter for George Weaver. The Dam was second in the debut, but was beat a narrow margin. Was okay for the group. And then the second Dam was a first-out winner and a 3-time winner on the dirt.
Yeah, but in the Dam, she is the sister to Imprimis, who's a very good turf sprinter, multiple graded stakes winner. So there is a bit more as far as quality is concerned. You can understand why this horse was entered for the turf first time out, and not to mention was working on the turf up at the Oklahoma training track for George Weaver, who has been incredibly dangerous with his turf sprinters. Maybe it's a horse that needs a race. Maybe he thinks she might be able to handle the dirt. She has had some decent works on the main track here, or I should say, on the Oklahoma training track and the training track down here at Belmont from the gate as well.
Let's go back to Maggie.
Taking a look at number 5 in here, Zuby, actually, she was entered first time out for the dirt in a maiden 35. She was scratched that day by George Weaver back here on September 11th. Then she was entered in a maiden special weight over at the Meadowlands on the turf, obviously. Scratch there. So now she comes in here for the 75,000. And look, back on the 11th, she looked to be a major player in that race. She was, I think, morning line favorite in what was a weak field. So they're kind of choosing to protect her here, I suppose. I don't know what to think of her, honestly. She was working, the one work that you can watch, and granted it was back on August 10th, I noticed that she was wearing nothing on her face. No noseband, no blinkers, not anything. And sometimes that hints at a horse that might have a little bit of, compromised airway. Now today, she shows up wearing a loose ring snaffle with bit guards. So bit guards are the rubber discs on either side of the bit just to keep it in place so you can't pull it through. And also a nasal strip and short cup cheater blinkers. So I think she might be more of a turf horse overall, just based on the way she looks physically. She does look a little bit weaker across her top line. There's a lot of question marks for me to be satisfied in taking 9-2 on her. She'll have to prove me wrong, but obviously this barn has been just going guns a-blazing from the start of 2-year-old season. Right to her outside is a fellow first-time starter in number 6, Blazing Bridget, for Kenny McPeak. Now, honestly, she looks as though she wants to run long on the dirt. Like Acacia brought up, her pedigree, that's what she's bred to do. So I don't understand necessarily entering her for 6 furlongs on the turf. She's tall, she's lanky, she's not a very sharp type. She got a very mild warm-up where she herself just kind of did her own thing, kind of cantering over to the backside. So I would take the wait-and-see approach, but obviously could be dangerous just with the success that we've seen from this barn on the NYRA circuit. And Acacia, getting back to number 10, Avery's Wonderland, she looked pretty good the way she was moving today. I still think she's a live long shot.
13-1. There she is from that outside post. See what she gets to do with an opportunity to finish a race for the first time. With Ruben Silvera aboard. Spendthrift Farm, 2-year-old race of the day, never ahead of the 1. Has not moved off favoritism with her speed from the rail. Extended upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call.
Avery's Wonderland to the outside. Goes in. All set. Going through the front of the gate there was Winrooski. Other runners didn't go anywhere. bringing Winruski back around. Kendrick Carmouche aboard. And there's Winruski now. Looks to be good to go. We'll step right back in the gate. Now goes in. And set. And they're off. Winruski flew out of the gate and right out to the front. Winruski is now hard sent, but to the outside GG Cakes to apply the pressure from the outside, and here comes Scorch. And Scorch out in the center of the racetrack is coming up to these leaders now, is taking a shared third position at the rail. It's Never Heather. Little green there, climbing a bit towards the back was Avery's Wonderland. Starts to lose ground quickly. Blazing Bridget is getting the hurry up here, but the front four, they go at it, and they went 22 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. Winruski is in front. Here's Never Heather immediately off the rail, and Never Heather is ranging up on the outside and traveling well. These two head and head. Just behind them, that's GG Cakes. To the outside, Scorch. From the back, Zuby is on the move. Green Silk starts to make up some ground as they're approaching a quarter mile left to go. Very awkward there is Blazing Bridget, the two at the back. There comes Catholic Vice and Avery's Wonderland. Never Heather is trying to run away. Zuby has had that eye-catching move and is coming after the leader now. Never Heather and Zuby is just flying down towards the inside. A furlong left to go. Never Heather, Eric Cancel, and Zuby. Zuby towards the inside, now a neck in front. Inside the final 16th from off the pace. Zuby for George Weaver. That's a winner. Zuby wins it over Never Heather. Then a late rally there was Blazing Bridget and Scorch. A 1 minute 11.46 seconds.
Zuby first time out. George Weaver, she was easy to pick up. She was flying.
She really was, and so much for the thought that it's hard to close up the inside or to close it all on this track, because she did come from off of it, and even it looked like the one Never Heather was home at one point when she got a good trip and was able to tip out and take over. Little bit green, Zuby kind of re-rallying her paths, but then once she straightened out and Eric Kinsell got her going, she was gobbling up the ground in there. Another daughter of Vacoma to get the win.
George Weaver campaign to win a Met Mile. 5-1 on the first time starter here. Loving this off going. 5-1-6-9. As Never Heather hung it a little bit longer than that debut, but same result in the end. But at least a better finish. Winds up second.
Yeah, absolutely. As this horse did not get the lead, Winruski, after breaking through the gate pre-race and being really tough, kind of rocketed out to the front. And so in a stalking position, Never Heather was, and looked like she was going to be able to take over. Maybe she is one who maybe needs to get to the front end.
Flavien Prat coming off his first ever Eclipse Award as outstanding rider. That outstanding record-setting summer he had last year at Saratoga. He's kept on rolling all year long and in position to win yet another year-end honor. We'll be back.
I have 52,000 starts in my life. I've never seen one that could take as much as he did early and continue to improve.
And it is Gunite.
He's strong, he's attractive.
And he's going to win the hopeful.
He's extremely smooth and fluid.
Gunite is a tough customer here as they come on for the finish.
How sound he is.
Gunite got the jump.
Consistent mentally, physically.
He will defeat Elite Power in the Forgo.
Complete package.
Back on our Thursday coverage. Good to have you with us here on Fox Sports 2. You're watching America's Day at the Races. Race 4, Horseshoe, Indianapolis, off the turf today. This one meant for the main track. Mile and 70 yards, state-bred company, condition claiming race, and favoritism right now, it's Toward the Moon to the outside. Let's go to Rachel for more.
I'm really glad you guys want to talk about him because I went down and caught Tony Duran, the trainer, and he said that he just loves this horse. He loves this track. You know, he put up some nice races a few back. It was a while. And, you know, sometimes you see they have good form on the turf, but he also has had good form back in June on the slop. I really liked the third place finish is what Tony said. And he said he thinks that he likes both of his horses like an off-going. But what I thought was really interesting is he went ahead and told me that after this race, he's going to make Toward the Moon his new pony horse, which Tony Duran has done with quite a few of his Indiana breds. Lucky Newton is one of the horses that he's made his pony, and he says he's the best one in his barn. He also has Mai Tai Jim, who he's made a pony, and now he's also going to, after Toward the Moon's race today, this one will be, he's 99% sure his last race, and he's going to make him a pony. So I just thought that was so cool. We all get to see Toward the Moon's last race. He's raced 37 times in his life. 25 of those have been in Indiana. He thinks he's going to go 1 and 2, just like I have it in my selections, you guys. 7, 8 is how I saw this race. That's Life right now on the board at 5-1, and the trainer Tony Duran does like that selection a little bit better than his 8, but it looks like the betting public prefers Toward the Moon over That's Life. He loves this kind of track, loves an off-going, and he's dropping down in class. But did want to give you guys a little bit of an update. A small spill on the backside with jockey Evan Roman. Got off the phone with our head steward. He said he just has a bump on above the eye. He's fine. He's just going to take off the rest of the mounts and go get checked out just as a precaution, which if you guys know, we all know jockeys, they really are tough guys, and they do not like to go get checked out. So I'm really glad that Evan's going to go get the once over, make sure he's fine, but the report is that it's just a little bump and he's going to be okay.
Well, that is great news. Thank you, Rachel. And interesting information from the barn of the favorite, that he prefers the stablemate, the 7, That's Life, who's at 6-1.
Yeah, it is interesting. Toward the Moon has largely been a turf horse recently, and pretty cool. His future entails becoming the stable pony, but I thought that That's Life was interesting. Obviously, I'm not there, but he was one that actually did catch my eye in the paddock as they were saddling, as we were watching the simulcast feed in here. He's never run this low, at least in a long time, and he's been running at a variety of different distances and surfaces, and so I think it's a little bit tough kind of going through his form, but we'll see what the drop in class does do for That's Life. Son of Shagaf, do you remember that horse?
I do not.
I think it was Todd Pletcher.
Okay.
It was a Shadwell horse. I didn't even know he was standing stud. That's pretty amazing.
Nor did I. His stablemate actually outfinished him on a wet. That just hasn't been great on off tracks either.
I know. So that's definitely the question too for these two horses as well. Toward the Moon is 0-for-8 in a wet track, but he has hit the board 5 times. That's Life 0-for-4 on a wet track. So we'll see how he handles it today.
I guess the other one, wow. The 5, Cowboy Justice taking money 3-1 right now, who just missed on a muddy track. That was at Thistledown 2 starts ago.
3-1 right now. There's not much pace signed on in this race. I wonder what the 6 Dawei will do as he is stretching out, but there's not really, I think, a confirmed pace setter in here, which makes this race a little bit murky.
8-5 favorite, last start of the career for Toward the Moon. Let's go to John Dooley for the call.
Looking at Justice, Keith Asmussen rides for his Hall of Fame father. Dowie's in. Classic Express, Jose Gutierrez has a win on the card. Well, main track card here today. Track remains labeled muddy, now Classic Express. Toward the Moon, 9-5 favorite. Mitchell Murrell, That's Life. At 1 mile and 70 yards, one more. Rodney Prescott with Toward the Moon. Like That's Life, both for Tony Duran. They're in the gate. They're off. And Classic Express broke well toward the inside. Benny's Day. There's Toward the Moon with an early run for Rodney Prescott. And Dowie is right there coming with an early charge after Toward the Moon and toward the inside. Benny's Day as they enter the first turn. So now with Danilo Grasales Rave, Dowie takes the top and is in front of Toward the Moon. Over toward the rail now at the 6.5. With Benny's Day third upon settling. On the outside is Looking at Justice and the Royal Blue and White halves running in fourth. Farther out is Cowboy Justice in fifth. Then comes That's Life and the purple cap with a pom-pom. Toward the inside is Classic Express and Star Review Trails. The opening quarter in 24.04 seconds. As they go up the back of this muddy track, it's Dowie. So Dowie leads them at the 4.5 with a 2-length advantage over Toward the Moon and his partner, That's Life, gaining with the rail. Both for Tony Duran. Benny's Day is next in fourth position. Then on the outside, Looking at Justice, Classic Express with the rail. Cowboy Justice being asked to pick up 3 furlongs from home, and with Alberto Burgos, Star Review still the back marker. It's Dowie. Takes them through a half mile in 49.43 seconds, inside 3 to go. Dowie clings on to a slight lead as Toward the Moon is making this bid now, coming toward the quarter pole, head to head, right there toward the inside. That's Life, Benny's Day, and on the outside, Cowboy Justice is in range. 3/4 woman at 15.06 seconds. Toward the Moon for Rodney Prescott, and Dowie is in for the fight. Dowie responds to the pressure, and Dowie just turned back Toward the Moon. Past the 16th, That's Life is running in third. Benny's Day back in fourth. It's Dowie, and Dowie does it by 2. Toward the Moon was second. That's Life third. Benny's Day finished fourth.
You sort of told us going into the gate the 6 was the speed, and this one does not relent.
Pretty amazed that he was able to sustain that speed and wire the field. But yeah, there wasn't anybody that on paper looked to be the confirmed pace setter in here, and this one was stretching out, so had some sprint speed, and it was a smart move by Danilo Grasales Rave to put this horse on the front end, and he was able to hold off the 2 from the Tony Duran barn.
5-1 on your winner. Gate to wire. Back at Belmont of the Big A, Zuby first time out. George Weaver stays in this race despite it coming off the grass, and Eric Cancel on board for the win.
This horse was flying late when she kind of figured out where exactly she was going, and closing up the inside too for a first-time starter. Not necessarily the easiest thing to do. It looked like the one Never Heather was getting a good trip, kind of that stalk and pounce type of trip, but Zuby, another first-time starter for George Weaver. I know this one in an off-the-turf race, and most of his wins were with turf sprinters this summer, but those 2-year-olds have been ready to roll.
Looked like she was thinking about going outside at first, and then kind of ducked to the inside and rolls right on by. Easy time for Zuby in the debut. And again, 5-1. So $12.44 upset score here in race 6. First time starter, George Weaver with Cancel in the irons. 5-1-6. Finish race 7. Feature race, 1 1/8, 2 turns. Allowance optional claiming group, 4 to 5 on Certified Lover Boy. 4-time winner, has been first or second in 9 of his 27 starts.
Yeah, he's a cool horse, incredibly consistent. He's a 5-year-old now. I always feel like he's a bit older because it feels like we've been following his races for quite some time, as he's raced pretty much exclusively last time. That's the exception, but being here on the NYRA circuit, ran really well 2 starts back with that 91 Beyer speed figure, finishing second.
Looks like he could be tough to beat. I know his stablemate, Andy Serling, likes Andy coming back on right after a timeout. I'm saying adios, so it's Acacia Andy right after this. Feature race is next. Again, 1 1/8 here in the 7th. About 13 minutes to post. We'll see if Fernando Abreu, he's got the favorite, he's got Winstock. Trying to get his first winner of the meet coming up. This feature is next.
$1,600,000 bid now 650. $1,650,000. $1,650,000. Anybody else want $650,000 bid today? $1,650,000. $1,600,000. Thank you.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Took the lead. 8 to main 2. Get an anchor out. 250. 8 2. Down to get down 250. Down to get down to get down 50. Guess not. Here to get down to get down to get down 50. Hit an end once. Here to get down to get down to get down. They know down. Put it a very good twice. Here to get down to get a third and final call. 2 main 250 and a half. Roger, you win today. 2 main 2. Thank you.
9.5. Thank you. In the back. $1,900,000. Thank you. $1,700,000. Jody, thank you.
Please hold your applause.
The grand finale of the yearling sale season. 2 catalogs offering quality yearlings by the nation's top sires. A sale that has produced scary good results with 5 Breeders' Cup wins in the last 3 years. Recent grads include Eclipse Champion and Horse of the Year, Torpedo Anna, Eclipse Champion, Soul of an Angel, and many more of the sport's current stars. The Fasig-Tipton, Kentucky October Yearling Sale, October 20th through 23rd in Lexington, Kentucky. Where will you be?
St. Liam has overtaken commentator so willingly. Jerry Bailey was like a statue in the stirrups as he just inhaled commentator. Sir Shackleton moves to second in an all-out drive, and they come down to the final 16th, and St. Liam, he's just galloping here. St. Liam, Jerry Bailey never asked him to run in the stretch drive.
St. Liam, as easy as can be in the 2005 Woodward, of course, would go on from there to win the Breeders' Cup Classic. An incredibly talented horse. So welcome back, Andy Serling. Just love that close-up shot, Andy, there, seeing just how easily he did it that day.
Yeah, but it's not really fair to show that race and not discuss what actually took place in the race. And while I'm all for rabbits, and I think that people should use them more often, people that complained about the rabbit that all he did was make sure an honest pace in both the Jockey Club Gold Cup and the Whitney, there were 2 rabbits in this race. After commentator had gone 23, 46, 109 to beat St. Liam in the Whitney, Rick said, I'm going to run a rabbit next time. And Nick Zito never complained. I watched that Woodward with Nick Zito, and he said, that's the game to me. He ran 2, and they were $25,000 claimers. 2 horses that ganged up on commentator, and they ganged up on him much the same way that the Comanche Trail did to Holy Bull in the Travers. They were using them to sort of hurt commentator, and I understand it's part of the game. Nick didn't complain, but when they complained about a horse being a pace setter in the Jockey Club and the Whitney, they really needed to watch this race to see what rabbits can do on the front end in a very different way. And obviously St. Liam benefited from it, though he was a tremendous horse.
Very talented, very consistent, as rabbits have been used in the game from pretty much the beginning
They're a good
of
part
the
of
game. As we take a look at Certified Lover Boy, one of 2 for Fernando Abreu in this upcoming 7th race, a mile and an 1/8 in this allowance feature. But for more on Fernando's other horse, let's check in with Maggie.
And Acacia shaping up to a nice end to what started as a rainy day. A lot of that humidity has dissipated. Nice breeze here, and the sun trying to peek through some clouds as we do have our featured event here. And while Certified Lover Boy, yes, he's your favorite, as he does look to be forwardly placed like he typically is. Let's check in with his stablemate. That's number 3, Winstock. I know Andy has some interest in this guy. I'll obviously let him talk about the dynamics, but a horse that does sometimes have a little bit of trouble getting out of the gate. And I feel like that can be attributed to sometimes his poor behavior in the preliminaries. Well, today, he has not given them any trouble whatsoever. They saddled him on the walk as a precaution, because last time when I saw him in the paddock at Saratoga, he was a real pain and just kind of got upset and annoyed and just wasn't happy. Today, he's got his ears up. He's chilling. He looks great here physically too. So I like this change in his demeanor, that maybe it means he's settled. Maybe it means he gets out of the gate better today and is able to give us a true showing of himself, because obviously deep down in there, there's some sort of talent, as way back when he was on the Kentucky Derby Trail for his previous trainer, Bob Baffert. Moving on to a horse that could wreak havoc on your favorite certified lover boy. That's number 6, Mr. Papa Giorgio, who does come in off of 2 wins in his former starts, but coming off a bit of a break. Now, when I last saw him, it was when he was winning in that allowance race over stablemate Holton. I do think he might... Well, he just meets some kind of gritty veterans of the game, right? Some horses that have done a bit more winning and have been around a little bit longer. But again, his credentials show he does have a shot here. He's a lot more quiet, too, than what I saw from him back on June 20th here in the paddock so far. I don't want to jinx him, but a horse that should be forwardly placed and at least has now that outside draw. So at least he's got a little bit more of a comfortable position over your favorite, Acacia.
See how the race does play out for him. Maggie, thank you. In good form, Mr. Papa Giorgio trying to make it 3 in a row at 6-1.
I don't know how he wins this race. He's going to run Certified Lover Boy on the ground, beat him and hold off the closers. Good luck to him.
Meet the field, starting off with Strapped.
Yeah, he's taking some money for Rudy Rodriguez, whose barn's come alive. He does have some races fast enough to win. He's not my cup of tea, but he has his supporters.
There's your favorite, Certified Lover Boy.
Yeah, he's way the horse to beat. He's controlling speeds in good form. You could argue any of his last 4 or 5 dirt races win this race.
Winstock, the second of 2 for Fernando Abreu.
I like this horse's chances. He's run against much better fields in his last 2 starts. He's finally in a race where at least he has a chance.
Noted goes back to the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's dangerous. The only knock I have is he's an ex-Todd Pletcher. It doesn't matter who the trainers are, tough to claim from, but his dirt races are just fine.
Here's Tabawash also going back to the dirt.
Yeah, he could be forward if he can still run his race. I don't think he'll be there at the end, but he could be involved early.
And Mr. Papa Giorgio in good form right now.
Probably the other speed in this race, and he is in good form, but I think he's tackling a much tougher group. The Valentinian, who ran second to him last time, ran okay the other day.
And Whittington Park to the outside, second time for Rudy Rodriguez.
He's won at the distance. I still think he's better in those one-turn races where the paces can heat up, as he's another deep closer, but he's a huge price if you like him.
Well, that's the field for Race 7, our feature race of the day. Let's go back to Strapped, who will break from the rail. As you mentioned, he does have some races on the go back. Recently, yes, he has been facing some tough company. 2-back Film Star has been in good form. Last time he tried the Birdstone going 1 3/4 behind Parchment Party, who has also been in good form now. I guess the big question is, does he get any sort of setup in here? There does look to be some pace signed on.
Well, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of pace signed on. I think that's one of the reasons the favorite is 3 to 5 in here. He's not only potentially the best horse, he's in a good position where he can lead these on a merry chase. Now, if the riders decide to be more aggressive, then you could see horses like Tabawash, the 5, and the 6, Mr. Papa Giorgio, maybe heat up the pace. If they do, it's going to help horses like Strapped, Winstock, and Whittingham Park, and even Noted in this race. But from what I see on paper, it's hard to imagine this pace getting hot, but we have seen more aggressive riding on the front end lately.
There's Winstock. I know you have some interest in this race. We'll take a look at his race a few back. This is back on June 14th, where he did actually win, and he did himself no favors at the start that day.
Well, before going the wrong way, he beat Stronghold in the La South Utility for Bob Baffert, and Stronghold was obviously very, very good, having won the Santa Anita Derby a couple of starts later. His form fell apart, but he's a horse that had some real ability as a 2-year-old to his 3-year-old year. He finally put it together here on a wet track where he blew the brake, as we noticed, and won quite impressively. Then he comes back, he's against Doc Sullivan and the Wine Steward and Lightman in a race where nobody made up any ground. And then his next race, he's trying to beat Film Star, and those are pretty strong horses, so I do think he gets some real class relief. I have no illusions. Beating the number 2 is not going to be easy in this race, but I thought he was one that had a chance, maybe.
6-1 right now, as he has shown that he certainly can handle the 1 1/8 distance. His stablemate, though, Certified Lover Boy, he does have some more tactical speed, as we'll look at a recent race for him, 2-back, where he did finish second. in a very good effort that day behind Light the Way. He was forwardly placed, which you certainly wanted to be, but that was going a mile too, and he's certainly shown that he can handle the distance as well.
He saved ground in here, which you had to be on the rail to be effective on July 12th. Now, the winner also saved ground the whole way, and he's been in very good form, and he tried to beat him outside the stretch coming off the rail. This was a very good effort by him. He didn't win. I think the only knock you can have is he hasn't won in his last 4 starts, and they do include losses in the last 3 races on dirt. 4-5, 9-5, 8-5, and he's not winning. But all of those efforts are good enough to win this race. I don't have a knock on him. He's the horse to beat.
She'll have to take even money now on Certified Lover Boy. Yeah. Flavien Prat going to be aboard once again. For more on how he's warming up, let's go back to Maggie.
He's okay. You know, Acacia, he's the horse that every time he shows up, I've never been, ooh, wow, Certified Lover Boy looks fantastic today. No, but he does show up every time, and there's definitely an amount of respect that needs to be held, you know, when talking about him. His last race bothered me a little bit, though. I'm not going to lie. I know Burnin' Hot came back to complement the form and earning a 91 with his subsequent win, but Certified Lover Boy was the favorite that day, and he was running 1-2 around the racetrack with Burnin' Hot. And he got outfinished by that horse. Yeah, the winner got, you know, the right kind of setup, but to me, he just looked tired. So he looks fine here, but I prefer Nappy's other horse, Fernando's other horse in here, Winstock, just based upon appearances. So I'm going to take him. Sorry, Andy, I apologize in advance. As number 4 noted, I don't know what to do with him because of 3 starts on the main track, he's won 2 of them, and one of which was on a wet track. In the paddock, he was a little bit girthy, you know, but he kind of came out of that once he set foot on the racetrack, got a really nice solo warm-up as well here from Ricardo Santana, and he's a horse that I've always felt as though, honestly, the longer the better. Now, whether that works out to be true here on the main track is yet to be seen, but I'd be more optimistic than I'd be more negative about him handling a 1 1/8 here on the main track. So I don't love too that it was a 4-horse field when he won, but again, Malarchuk definitely complimenting things. So just a wild card for a barn whose horses seem to be, I know he's winless at the meet, but throughout this year, Acacia, Gustavo Rodriguez's horses just seem to be overachieving day in and day out.
Certainly agree. Maggie, thank you. Noted a horse who had actually started his career kind of flip-flopping between turf and dirt as a 2-year-old, and Todd Pletcher opting to run him in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile behind Fierceness.
I'm not sure if that was Todd's call or maybe his owner's call in that race, considering he just lost a turf prep. But maybe, you know, after the Champagne, they had their reservations about how much you could trust Fierceness. Fierceness obviously showed, but I feel like he would have been the turf juvenile if Fierceness had won the Champagne.
And we saw him win in an off-the-turf race back in May over Malarchuk, as Maggie touched on. We'll see what he can do getting back to the main track today. Is a little bit of a wild card.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's – if you're against the 2, a lot of these horses can win. If you feel like the 2's way the horse to beat, then it's a different situation. I think you have to decide. I'm going to try to beat him with a 3, but I'm not against Certified Lover Boy. He's the horse to beat.
He's 4-5 right now. One of 2 for trainer Fernando Abreu as they load in for race 7. Featured allowance here. Belmont at the Big A. Chris Griffin has the call.
2 out. Mr. Papa Giorgio. Whittington Park goes in. All set. And they're off. Hard scent from in between horses. Noted Mr. Papa Giorgio, and towards the inside, Certified Lover Boy. The front 2 sprinted out of the gate, and now Mr. Papa Giorgio assumes command and clears off his up by a full length. Tracking from second now, move to the 2-path, Certified Lover Boy, and they ensure a good tempo early as Certified Lover Boy is going to take it right to Mr. Papa Giorgio, who got the cue now, is going to be tried to held back here by Kendrick Carmouche. Doesn't want to be with that early heat, and Certified Lover Boy is in front. Action-packed first quarter, and they went 23.67 for the opening quarter mile. So it's Certified Lover Boy in front of Mr. Papa Giorgio, right there at the rail in 3rd. That's noted, and towards the outside of that rival, there comes Tabawatch in 4th. moving up nicely as Whittington Park is now within ranges in 5th. At the back, strapped in the trailer, Winstock. 46-4 for the half-mile time. Certified Lover Boy. Flavien Prat, they're in front, and they're approaching a half-mile left to go, moving nicely. And here towards the outside, Mr. Papa Giorgio now tries to re-rally and come after this leader. The front two continue to pull away from the rest of the field so far, as Noted is now under the shove here at the rail as a lone third. Whittington Park is not making up the ground yet. Winstock is trying to rally. Tabawatch and far back strap, just not today, as they're approaching a quarter mile left to go. Certified Lover Boy, Mr. Papa Giorgio to the outside is ready to rally on. Now the closers are getting closer. It's Noted who's at the rail trying to rally. Whittington Park is weaving in and out, but Whittington Park, here comes those big strides, is commencing a rally, and Winstock is in it too. The pace setters are tired. Here comes Winstock from far out of it. Whittington Park is taking the lead. Whittington Park in front of Winstock. They're 1-2. Whittington Park is almost home inside the final 16th. Winstock going to try one more time. Whittington Park. Got it. Whittington Park wins it over. Winstock then came Mr. Papa Giorgio and Noted in 1 minute 51.32 seconds.
Whittington Park with the win, came rallying late under Manny Franco as this race completely fell apart, Andy. Everybody was running late.
Yeah, well, when Kendrick was that aggressive with the 6, even though he ended up sort of letting the 2 go and he tried to slow it down, they still were moving up front. You know, this is a track that seemed like nobody was passing the first 3 races, but as it's dried a little bit with no more rain, horses are closing. The pace got hot, and the closers just basically dominated this race at the end. Whittington Park, a horse I've always kind of had an affinity for Whittington Park, a horse that is good at times, but I just didn't know if he'd get the pace. Well, he got it, and he got it done. No excuse for Winstock. He got to him. He was simply second best. But in a day where it seemed like there were some logical horses, we've seen some upsets.
Whittington Park running back to some of that backlash that he does have. 6-year-old getting the win here for Rudy Rodriguez at late rally as well for Winstock, who did come rolling late 7-3, 6-4. As it was a pretty nice superfecta there with your favorite, the number 2 Certified Lover Boy, out of the top 4. Prices and more when we come back. Whittington Park returns to the winner's circle.
Jackie's Warrior, Elite Power on the far outside. Jackie's Warrior settles for third today. At the 16th hole, Godite is second, but Elite Power does it again. 5 elevating at 875 down 900 and 900,000.
The power of a champion.
Please hold your applause.
The power of Juddmonte.
We're back on America's Day at the Races as we turn our attention over to Horseshoe Indy. We have race 5 coming up next off the turf in this allowance race here. And currently the number 7 Hawkeye is the favorite. Let's go to Rachel.
Hey guys, I feel like I've just been a chalk eating weasel today, but I can't really help it. This race sort of fell apart. There's a lot of scratches, and it really changed the landscape of the race. These horses really did want the turf. I'm glad the ones that stayed in, but the 7 Hawkeye is who I'm gonna have to go with. Alberto Burgos aboard, who is our defending leading jockey from last year. He's up for John Horan. I will say, John having a tremendous year. He hit $1 million this year. $1 million mark, and he got his, I think, 600th win. He's just having a wonderful year, and he's hot right now, second in the standings. I will say, though, since they gelded this horse, he's really turned around. In 7 starts, he's had 3 seconds, and then 4 wins in a row. It's no shocker that this horse is the favorite. Early speed as well. There's a lot of upside with him. He's a 4-year-old gelding, and he's 4 for 4, like I said, this year. Another couple that I'm interested in are the inside, and honestly, sprinting on the dirt, it's been outside favoring. So King Cab, I do like, also has a little bit of early speed, but I really think the 2, now 3-1 on the tote board. This is a little bit of inside info pertaining to me and making my picks. Joe Sharp, whenever he is not here, he says, he wins. Whenever he comes to Indiana, he loses. I don't see Joe anywhere, so he might have a good shot. And then Gabe just loves to beat me. Whenever Gabe has a shot in a race and is sitting a good horse, if I don't pick him on top, he beats me every time. So everybody put your money on the 2, because I did not put it on top, so clearly Gabe will beat me just to make me look foolish.
Rachel, thank you. As the favorite is the number 7 Hawkeye, who is trying to make it 5 in a row, as this is a horse with some tactical speed. And yes, while he was entered for the turf, he has been doing well on the main track, thus the favoritism.
Well, he's the dirt horse in this race is why they're betting him. I don't think that he's the likeliest winner. I don't think he should be favored. I don't think he's going to be the speed. I think the 1's supposed to be in front, and I think this race is completely misbet. I think the 1 is the horse to beat, and I would use him with the 2, personally.
The 1 has been facing far better horses on both turf and dirt.
His dirt
Won a
races
stake race at Hawthorne on the dirt back in May. Last time out, running against much tougher. Even on the turf, 2-back, he had to face Coppola on as far as turf sprinters. A talented group in there as well. Yeah, I agree. He's intriguing.
I think he's an overlay in this race. I like the 1 and 2 in this race. I think the 7 is way overbet. But I've been wrong before, so I could well be wrong here. We'll see what happens.
The number 10, Balsa to the outside, taking some attention as well. He has been facing tougher on the turf, ran behind Clear the Air last time out. Going to the main track, I guess a little bit of the question mark for him, but he has been able to handle it, it seems.
Well, he's not as overbet as the 7, but he might be more overbet because he doesn't even have any dirt races that make him. I mean, I guess he's not impossible. It's an off-the-turf race. The 7 could win, but both of these horses are dramatically overbet in this race. I mean, I don't know. Maybe things will change. I don't know. A late change could easily make the 1 and 2 the favorites, as they're probably supposed to be. Let me take a look and see what the doubles look like. No, the 5 is favored. The 7's favored over the 10, and the 1 and 2 are the 3rd and 4th choices in the doubles. See if it's different in the pick 3s. No, it's clearly the 7 and 10. I believe this race is being misbet, but I guess we'll find out.
See how it plays out as they go in for race 5 off the turf here at Horseshoe Indianapolis. We'll get a chance to see who gets the lead and who's able to hold on. John Dooley standing by with the call.
Sammy Bermudez with Unworkable. Now the 4-time winner at the meet. Up comes Hawkeye. Alberto Burgos for John Herron, vying for the training title here this season. One more. Luis Contreras with Balsa. This field with 24 wins between them. Muddy track all in line. Now that I Can Rock, getting fractious there in the start. Robin sprinting. Fast start for Linzer with Hawkeye in the green cap, showing that early speed, and right there is Unworkable. He's fast too. It's Linzer. Linzer for Gabriel Saez is the speed of the speed, pressed by Unworkable, and Hawkeye is up with them at the 3.5. Balsa on the far outside with King Cab. Now that I Can Rock trails the Sextet as they round the far turn just inside 3 furlongs from home. It's Linzer. So Linzer spearheads them as Hawkeye starts this bid for Alberto Burgos. The first 2 of 5 furlongs at 21.58. Unworkable straightens away in third. Balsa fourth on the far outside as Hawkeye comes to take on Linzer. King Cab we trail back to Now That I Can Rock. 1 furlong to go. It's Linzer. Linzer leads Hawkeye. Second gamely, and here comes Hawkeye. Hawkeye descends on Linzer. Hawkeye on the outside. Toward the inside is Linzer. Linzer and Hawkeye eyeing another meet win. Hawkeye and Linzer. Linzer holds Hawkeye today. King Cab third. Unworkable finish fourth.
Linzer able to hold off the favorite Hawkeye, as Andy, you mentioned the 1 and 2 being faster as far as speed was concerned, and this was the horse that got to the lead, and he was able to dig in late.
Yeah, he's a crazy overlay at 4-1 in this race. I have no idea who was paying the 10. He had absolutely no chance in here, and the 7 had every chance to catch the 2. He was simply second best in here. Maybe sticking to the rail on the 1 didn't help his chances, but he was probably going to be third no matter what.
It looks like there's an inquiry up at Horseshoe Indy. Maybe a little drifting in the stretch, not quite sure, but inquiry sign posted over at Horseshoe Indianapolis. More on that in a moment. Back over Belmont at the Big A. Whittington Park makes his way into the winner's circle as he came rolling late, as he did get some pace to run at, but kind of running back to some of that back class that he does have.
Yeah, I mean, it came back to the race falling apart, and Whittington Park's a horse that's run some very fast figures in his career. He's probably better in those one-turn mile races, not because of the distance, because the paces are faster in one-turn miles for the most part. But he got an honest pace to run at here, and this race ended up collapsing. And in the collapse, Whittington Park and Winstock are the right 2 horses when a race falls apart, running 1-2. And Exacta sort of showed that people thought the race could fall apart, because while the Exacta's supposed to pay about $120, it paid $76 for 2. Not that surprising. Whittington Park not a 10-1 shot in that field.
23.76 with Whittington Park getting the win at Belmont at the Big A, closing late. Race 8. Coming up next, New York bred maiden special weight off the turf here, as no surprise, off script is a short price. This is a horse who had started out on the main track, went with Chad Brown, and she had run 3 second place finishes, all as a favorite, but against some decent horses.
Yeah, there really is very little dirt for him to go on in this race, and she has dirt races. The only real knock on her is that she's got 6 starts, 4 seconds, and a third, and she's been 3-2, 3-1, 3-2, 3-5, 1-2, and 9-5. So she's a horse that's taken a ton of money in all races and keeps failing to get it done. But off the turf in this race, this is the kind of race horses like this find a way to break through. She'll be odds on, and she'll probably win. We don't know what's going on at Horseshoe. They haven't shown us anything to indicate why there's an inquiry here. So I don't know if it's to do with a stretch run or who knows.
Not quite sure, but over at Horseshoe Indianapolis, the unofficial winner did cross the wire first in Linzer. He got his picture taken in the winner's circle with Gabe Saez aboard, but there is an inquiry sign posted until we have more information. We'll take a quick time out, bring you more insight on what's going on over there when we come back. Trainer Will Walden, though, having a banner year and with a short price favorite in the nightcap. We will give an update after we come back.
History remembers moments of extraordinary strength, skill, and determination. True greatness is forged by those who fulfill their destiny. as they say.
Book 'em, Dano. Prince of Monaco in between. It's going to get very close. Book 'em, Dano.
If you can make it here,
Book 'em, Dano in a thriller. Book 'em, Dano wears him down. Book 'em, Dano under a perfect ride from Paco Lopez to win the True North.
you can make it anywhere.
It's Book 'em, Dano in another stellar display, winning the Alfred G. Vanderbilt going away.
Bucaro, proudly standing in New York at Iron Horse Stallions.
Who's still a nose in front. Koru is lifting late as well. Better lucky than good at the rail. Better lucky than good. Koru, better lucky than good, wins the finale.
Welcome to Adelphi Racing Club's unparalleled partnership experience. Exclusive access to the backstretch at Belmont and Saratoga, premier accommodations on race day, and of course, experience excitement like no other. Contact us today to get a taste of the Adelphi difference.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. As we have race 8 coming up, Belmont at the Big Egg, a New York bred maiden special weight, as this one will be off the turf. There is off script though. Maggie, as this is a filly who certainly showed early on in her career that she could handle the dirt just fine.
Yeah, even going back and watching her start 3 back Acacia at Horseshoe Indy. She was the only one to make up ground, as we heard Rachel talking about that track playing particularly well to early speed. She had none of it that day, but she was able to make up some ground, and certainly flattered by the fact that there were 3 next time out winners, including the winner that day, Moon Mystique, who would return with a 79 buyer in her subsequent victory. Off script, though, is a horse, at least in her start last time at Saratoga. She was fairly nervous in the paddock that day, and she does strike me as a nervous type. She's a little less so here at Aqueduct, as we often talk about. It's just so much more quiet. There's a lot less contributing factors to make a horse get on edge. She looks great here. She definitely looks to me like dirt is well within her wheelhouse, as she has shown, but at least based upon appearances here in the paddock, to me, she does have one main rival, and that's a horse we don't know what she's able to do. That's a first-time starter, Ivora, daughter of Motown, who does opt to stay in here. And I mean, the only work you can watch on First TV was 3 back on August 22nd, when she was sitting 2 lengths off of an albeit 2-year-old, but a 2-year-old that they did win first time out at Presque Isle, and just kind of easily traveled up next to him and was going very nicely through the lane, galloping out in tandem. She's a big, strong-looking filly. There is a lot of her. She looks very capable of getting the job done here at first asking, given the conditions. A mile here on the main track. She does look as though turf could be the main answer, but I think Miguel wouldn't leave her in here if he was scared of her not handling the main track. She's been a professional throughout. She just looks so fit and so strong, and I do think she is, honestly, looking at them here in the paddock, the main threat to your favorite in here off script.
Maggie, thank you. Ivora, as this one named for a peninsula in Kerry in Ireland,
Of
which
course.
you might notice Waterville Lake Stables names all their horses, or most of them, I should say, names around that area, including one named Kerry. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's Christophe L'Oreal.
Good to know.
The best.
Just won the award from
The Wayne Lucas
Godolphin?
Assistant
No, the
Trainer.
Wayne
Yes,
Lucas award,
yes.
right.
Yeah. But yeah, this filly, as Maggie mentioned, she worked in company with the Big Con, who did win by open lengths at Presque Isle the other day. So she certainly was keeping up, and Miguel said the other day, maybe she wants turf, but I'm going to leave her in no matter what happens because she's ready to run.
Well, she's found the right spot to debut other than the favorite. There's certainly not a lot going on. I mean, listen, we don't know if Hello Beauty could be a dirt horse, but, street sense, there's enough dirt. But Maximova, the Daniel Dancer Dam, that is all turf. So a little skeptical whether or not she's going to be a dirt horse at 3-1. Night Jasmine may be a little dangerous because she's theoretically the speed in this race, but geez, her dirt races, the only thing you can say is she probably faced better horses in those races, but didn't do a lot of running. And I don't think anybody has illusions that off-script isn't the one to beat. But you do have to be careful. When you talk about Will Walden and Chad Brown have had this horse, and these are two guys that win. And this horse is a short price, race after race, and comes up short. And that's a problem.
She's been the favorite in every one of her races, save one, where she also finished second that day. It seems to be a little bit of her MO. As far as Night Jasmine, who we're looking at, she is by English Channel, so there's certainly much more turf influence in there. But she is the half-sister to Tripoli, who did win the Pacific Classic. And I remember Horacio saying that was a little bit of the thought process in trying her in the dirt at the beginning of her career. But you know, with that English Channel influence, and even Tripoli himself, I mean, he was able to handle the turf as well.
Yeah, and even Love Train, the dam side. I mean, it's much more turf, and she did improve a lot in the turf. But she's the speed, so, I mean, I don't think she's totally impossible to get a piece in here. And you never know with the 8. You just don't know if the first-time starter, I mean, as you say, meant for turf, but not really adverse to trying the dirt with the horse. And as you and I were talking, a better turf pedigree than dirt pedigree, but it's not such a huge turf pedigree that I'll be shocked if the horse handles the dirt. And handling the dirt and winning a race like this could be somewhat of two different things, right?
Meet the field, starting off with a horse who is taking money, getting onto the dirt for the first time, Hello Beauty.
I just don't like this dam side at all for dirt. It is such a strong turf family that's my biggest problem with this horse.
Aximova, multiple graded stakes place long on the turf, and see what this one could do on the main track. Lady Delilah has tried the dirt a few times.
Yes, she has, and she's done it unsuccessfully. She's won quite a few that aren't covered in the pick 6. In fact, only the 6 and 8 are covered in the pick 6.
Wow. Lady Delilah being a little bit difficult, linking up with the pony. There is Night Jasmine.
Yeah, I think if the favorites lose, she's the likeliest candidate. The public is close to agreeing because she could be the speed, but it's hard to be overly confident in her.
Off script, 65.
It's the horse to beat.
Another first-time starter, Charmeuse.
Yeah, not taking much money for Dave Donk in this spot, so just a wild card.
Ivora, 2-1, first-time starter.
Well, I got to root for the house horse when I sit with the occasion.
She's taking some attention. Flavian Pratt going to be aboard, and a long shot, AP Slingshot, stretching out in distance.
Stays in despite doing no running, going 5.5 in her debut. Not a lot of turf pedigree though either.
No.
So probably the right surface if there is a right surface.
We'll see if she improves, getting more distance. Race 8 coming up next off the turf. Just one left to go. Belmont at the Big A. We will wrap up the card and see if Off Script can finally break her maiden.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Gainesway Power, Passion, Performance. Nightcap still to come. Belmont at the Big A. Quickly, Andy, as far as the pick 6, what was that situation?
Only the 6 and 8 are covered in here. It feels like a carryover in the high 25,000 range if the 6 or 8 don't win, but they are the 2 heavy choices in here.
Well, best of luck if you are still alive going in. But one horse that is not covered is the 2 Hello Beauty. Maggie, despite that pedigree, she's taking a lot of attention.
She is, and maybe I was a little prematurely dismissive of her back in the paddock, citing that I, too, like the pick 6 players, thought this was only a 2-horse race because I didn't like her in her last start, even though she was facing New York breds for the first time, and it was almost like she had this campaign in Saratoga that was never where it should have been, right? She was supposed to run against New York breds, but she was scratched because of shoes. And then Jack Sisterson said, well, I've got a runner, so he just stuck her in open maiden special weight. She didn't run well that day. And then, trying to catch those maiden special weights for the New York breds, he runs her back in, 3 weeks, if that? Yeah, 3 weeks. And didn't run particularly well that day either. So Hello Beauty comes back in here with about a month under her belt, and while it is predominantly turf on the bottom side, and maybe she won't like this at all, what I can say is that she moved exceptionally well over it in the warm-up. And if anything, she's put on a little bit more weight than when I saw her in that August 24th affair. So I didn't like her in the paddock, but once she hit the track, Acacia, she definitely warmed up in my eyes. I went with the first-time starter in here who continues to impress, Ivara, so best of luck. But yeah, I'm a little bit more of a Hello Beauty fan than I thought I was.
Well, it's some good news given how she's being bet. Maggie, thank you. Hello Beauty warming up well in the preliminaries. Blinkers coming off, and Kendrick Carmouche in the saddle. As Maggie said, to be fair, it is only her second time facing New York bred company.
It is, and she did have some trouble. She got jammed up behind horses, and it's a good rider change to Kendrick. I just don't want to bet a horse like this in the dirt. But she obviously has the ability to win this race. She could be as good as anybody, if not better than anybody. She may be a better horse, frankly, than the favorite. If they're on the turf, on the dirt, I wouldn't bet a horse like this with that pedigree. She's too much turf for me on the dam side. But if you like her, she's 4-1.
Off script, even money right now. Is that too short a price for you to take on her?
Well, I'm not betting. I don't bet even money shots, but I think it's the right price. I mean, honestly, probably the only horse to worry about is the first-time starter. I would say the positive is the 8's taking a lot of money, but sometimes they're sort of the only other horse you can bet, so they kind of take more money than they should. But, the problem with the 6 is all the starts and all the losses at short prices for trainers that win. That's the knock.
Nightcap, Belmont at the Big A. We'll see if today's the day for Off Script. Chris Griffin standing by with the call one more time. Belmont at the Big A.
Here's AP Slingshot. Going in. All set. And they're off. Night Jasmine broke beautifully right out towards the front. Night Jasmine is in front and challenged by Off Script towards the outside as Night Jasmine gets right over to the rail. They're running in 2 groups right now. Up on the far outside, here's the momentum from AP Slingshot. AP Slingshot from the far outside draw is trying to cross over as they come out of the chute. Now takes command, is up by a full length. Just having to tap on the brakes there was Off Script. Tips right out towards the outside of the 2 path. So it's AP Slingshot and Off Script. Off Script ready to challenge towards the outside with Charmeuse. A well-placed third out in the center of the racetrack as well. Moving through at the rail. Still there is now Lady Delilah with Night Jasmine. They're going to take the now 3rd position as Lady Delilah as they move back and forth in that mid-pack. In the orange cap, Ivra is now moving forward, a stalking 4th place position. Charmeuse is out wider in 5th. Night Jasmine and Hello Beauty under a tight hold there for Kendrick Carmouche is the trailer. But at the back end of the field through a 47.70 half-mile time. Very tightly bunched as they're well into the far turn now. AP Slingshot has been confronted by Off Script. Off Script puts a neck in front. Ivra is now in pursuit, 3-path. Here comes Ivra. Hello Beauty has progressed nicely. Kendra Carmouche still with a handful as they reach the top of the stretch. The leader is off script, trying to run away from the field right now. Ivra is trying to challenge Hello Beauty, center of the racetrack. They're trying to catch the favorite. Off script has still got a nice 3-length cushion, but Hello Beauty is catching with every single stride. Here comes Hello Beauty to the outside of off script. Off script still in front. Hello Beauty trying to push on by. Hello Beauty with a head in front. Hello Beauty wins the finale. Off script second, then came Lady Delilah and Ivra in 1 minute 38.36 seconds.
It was Hello Beauty. She warmed up well on the dirt, Maggie said, and she certainly handled it. Even a little bit tough to pull up. She was a bit erratic in the stretch there, too. I don't know if off script was maybe tiring and coming out to her a little bit, but you could certainly see Hello Beauty was leaning in there in the stretch.
Manny's coming out here to sort of engage her. You can see Kendrick had saying, but I don't see anything in the pan. You'd have to see the head on,
It does
though.
get a little tight, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell, but
Yeah.
we're worth taking a little bit of a look at.
Tell you one thing, off script is never going to win if she couldn't win
I
this
know.
race. Sorry.
So outside in the black cap is Hello Beauty. Red cap is off script. She initiates it. She comes over first with the left-handed urging from Manny Franco.
If anything, she's
If
hurting
anything,
the...
she is the
Oh,
problem.
yeah,
She's the one that comes out.
Yeah, there won't be anything. She didn't do anything, and I know you're not suggesting this.
No.
She wouldn't have come down had she won, but if anybody was doing anything, it was Manny coming out, and just think nothing really went on, and Maggie was right. I would never have bet this horse in a million years. I don't bet a horse with that kind of pedigree. The public bet this horse late, and off script, man, you can have her. I don't think she'll
Another
ever
tough
win a
beat.
race. And I got to think, I'm thinking the pick 6 carryover is probably, hang on. Well, it looks like it's going to be just a few dollars under $26,000.
Nice.
Looks like about $30 under, $28 under.
So tomorrow, pick 6 carryover with Hello Beauty winning. Get your handicapping hats on and ready for tomorrow's card. The sun is actually out now, so
yeah,
hopefully
just
we'll
time
have
for us
a
to leave.
nice weather day tomorrow.
I agree. Yeah, no, it's supposed to be nice.
Yeah.
Supposed to be nice the rest of the weekend. Maybe a little cloudy at times, but the good weather's coming up after this. We got this, and it didn't rain nearly as much as they had predicted. You were saying to me they were talking about over almost 2 inches of rain.
I know. It was a little
Never
bit of a tough
happened.
drive down from Saratoga this morning at certain points, but luckily it did stop. Back over to Horseshoe Indy, by the way, in the last race, in race 5, that inquiry sign came down. It said no change to the order of finish. Still not entirely sure what that entailed. But as far as race 6 is concerned, Andy, we're meeting the field going pretty quickly here through this Indiana-bred allowance. The 1, G-Force Jimmy, went by. There's the 2, Mitoli's Secret. Here is the 3, Happy Match, last out winner.
She is way too slow on paper.
7-1 right now on Happy Match. There's Pay Me Later, still lightly raced.
Yeah, I don't think she's that much less likely to win than the 1, and a better price at 3-1.
Lila B has been running in off the turf races.
That's the problem. While she's run okay in the dirt, she's not really a dirt horse, whereas horses like the 1 and 4 are.
There's a 6, Fifth Wheel, turf to dirt.
I got to think this horse is worse than the 5th wheel, more like the 7th wheel.
And
6th
the
wheel.
7 is out as that's the field. The 1, G-Force Jimmy, though, Rachel, continues to be the short price favorite.
Yeah, and I just talked to Tony Cunningham, Acacia, and he said, we are having a really tough time getting that non-2 win. And boy, don't you see it in the running lines. She's tried, and she's been close quite a few times at different distances, surfaces. She ran well, a nice second sprinting. She ran nice going 2 turns. And then most recently, she only got beat half a length in her last race on the grass. So obviously, Tony's trying to put her in where he can figure out what she likes. We'll see if this off-going it will, speak to her today. Sammy Bermudez is aboard for him, and he had a really nice day yesterday as well as this week. As far as her temperament, he said she's really honest and she tries really hard, but she does get herself into a little trouble. She can be a little bit of a hothead, and I don't know, I think you guys were kind of at the end of the post parade, but from where I'm sitting, she had to be turned around at the top of that post parade, kind of right by when they were walking them down the stretch, and they had to start her over to kind of get get her going. So she definitely proved Tony right there. Another one that I wanted to tell you about, I went down, grabbed Burgos out of Alberto Burgos, the jockey of the fifth wheel, and chatted with him a little bit. First asked him what he thought about the track, and he just said, man, it's really deep today from all this rain, and it's been kind of tough. And as I alluded to earlier, it's hard for closers on this track, and he's got one here in this race. And I said, how do you guys feel? What's the game plan since you have a horse that kind of wants to sit off the pace? And he said, you know, Rachel, I'm just going to stay out of the inside, stay out here on the outside, and see if I can close coming into the stretch. So that's the game plan for him. As far as how they look, though, the two, just on looks alone, I have to say, looks wonderful. Michelle, I did talk to, she said, I just don't know what this filly needs. She's beat some really nice horses in the past, but she just hasn't been, firing the last few. She said, so I don't really know. Flip a coin, Rach. And then Michelle Elliott, the trainer, her husband, is pretty much her assistant trainer. And he said, we're just going to go to the front and catch me if you can is the plan for the two, Matoli's Secret. So a few thoughts from some of the connections here in the 6th race. But G-Force Jimmy, like I said, it's been kind of chalky, 6-5 here on the tote board, Acacia. Maybe we can make some money with some horses underneath.
Rachel, thank you. We'll see how this 6th race does play out. Back over to New York in the nightcap. We'll have a carryover, $25,972. The official amount, races 4 through 9 tomorrow, but Hello Beauty triggering that as she was able to handle the main track today.
Absolutely. You could see she was full of run coming in the stretch. I got to tell you, though, she found the right horse to run by and off script. I mean, Manny did everything right and off script. You want to get the favorite in the race. You don't want to lose because you're not aggressive. It wasn't such a super fast pace. She takes over and opens up in the stretch. She's supposed to win, and she just doesn't want to win. Now, give the credit to Halo Beauty, who came and got her, and she clearly handled the dirt. But, boy, off script, I can't wait till she comes back in another turf race so I can bet against her because she has no will to win, this horse.
Just
got
so
talent,
tough.
but she
Has
just
to be
doesn't want to win.
incredibly frustrating for her connections. And yeah, Manny Franco did everything he possibly could at even money and still got run down late. Have to settle for another 2nd place finish. Back over to Horseshoe Indy. State bred allowance for the fillies and mares. There's a look at your favorite, the one G-Force Jimmy, as she gets back to the main track today, and last time she was on the dirt, she was sprinting. Last time she went long on the dirt, it was in stakes company against fellow state-bred foes, and she did finish 2nd that day.
Yeah, if you're looking for something clever, you got the wrong guy here. I think the winner is going to be either the 1, G-Force Jimmy, or the 4, Pay Me Later. Pay Me Later has more experience going long, whereas G-Force Jimmy is mostly a sprinter. But the truth is, she did run the fastest Spire figure she's ever run. Or not the fastest, but one of her faster numbers when she hit 1:70. So she showed she could handle the distance that day. I have nothing clever to say about this race. I think it's between the 1 and 4, much like the public does.
I completely agree, as she's a short price right now. Even money heading over to the starting gate for race 6 as we will load in, see if G-Force Jimmy appreciates getting back onto the main track. There she is, first one in the gate. As Rachel touched on, maybe a little bit tough to handle at times.
She seemed to be okay there.
There we go, loading in. Race 6, Horseshoe Indianapolis. The last race from there on our show today. John Dooley standing by with the call.
I've moved into the starting gate. Happy match. Fernando Lota Cruz won our 3rd of the day with Goth. Luis Contreras, Pay Me Later, like Happy Match. Both here for Bob Gorham over the mile and a 16th. Pay Me Later. G-Force Jimmy right now, even money favorite. It's 2-1 Pay Me Later and 5-1 Lila B. Has moved in with Joseph Romero and one more. Alberto Burgos, 5th wheel. She was the last out maiden winner here. They're in the gate. They're off. Toward the inside, G-Force Jimmy. Matoli's Secret with early speed, along with Lila B, who's up and after the lead now for Joseph Romero, vying for it with Matoli's Secret near the rail as they make their way into the first turn. Pay Me Later with G-Force Jimmy. 5th wheel is wide as they round the first turn and toward the inside. Happy Match. The leader is Matoli's Secret. Matoli's Secret, the overall leader, At 16-1 for Jose Gutierrez, tracked by Lila B. G-Force Jimmy, third toward the inside there for Samer Bermudez as they go up the back. Then comes Pay Me Later with Happy Match in the purple cap, and fifth wheel is last. The opening quarter covered in 23.98 seconds. Matoli's Secret generates the pace. Matoli's Secret by 3/4 length to a close-up Lila B. G-Force Jimmy third, trying to winch in with Pay Me Later running in fourth. Fifth wheel up on spot while wide, and Happy Matches drop back to last. They have inside a half mile to run. Matoli's Secret remains the 16-1 target. Half mile in 48.92 seconds. Matoli's Secret now confronted by Lila B, who's nosed in front. 3 furlongs to go. And Pay Me Later is gearing up for a run now for Luis Contreras, and here she comes. G-Force Jimmy starts to gain. Matoli's Secret led, but has dropped back as these fillies come past the quarter pole. Fifth wheel and Happy Match. Pay Me Later leads into the top of this muddy stretch after 3/4 in 1 minute 13.72 seconds. Pay Me Later, 1 furlong to go, has a 2-length buffer zone over G-Force Jimmy, who's coming full on now. Lila B is back in third. They come past the 16th. G-Force Jimmy trying to close down Pay Me Later. Pay Me Later spurts away near home and wins by 2.5 to G-Force Jimmy. Lila B third, and Happy Match finished fourth. Fifth wheel, Matoli's Secret, was last to pull up.
Logical Horses finishing 1-2. Pay Me Later ending up able to hold off at G-Force Jimmy.
I mean, the only surprise in here was the one wasn't forward, as you expected that horse to be speed. Now, I don't really know that it mattered, to be honest. Maybe it actually helped the chances because they were moving a little bit maybe up front, but just surprised the one was more forward. But Pay Me Later was better. Maybe just a little better going longer. And as we said, it was a 2-horse race. Not sure there should have been this big a difference between these 2 horses and their prices, but they were the right 2.
Had a little bit of foundation and able to hold off that foe in the stretch. Tomorrow in the Beldame. The Beldame, our feature. It's a compact field. It will depend. Some of these horses cross-entered. Andy, we'll see how it does play out. But, of course, Randomize will try to look for her second win in the Beldame.
Right. It is important to note. Majestic Oops is not running. She's running at Delaware. Apparently, Mark Hennig is leaning towards running Gunsong here. She and Marge's Intention. The other one's Randomized is going to be about 1 to 5. She's the controlling speed in here. When Randomized is good, she's one of the best fillies or mares in the country. When she's bad, she's bad. But when she's able to control, as she did in the Molly Pitcher 2 races back, she runs a race. She's very good. She's going to be a single for a lot of people in this Big 6 carryover. I love Randomized. You know, I have great affection for her. I hope she runs her better race, but she is a little bit unreliable.
She was disappointing after setting the pace in the Personal Ensign last time out. She was beaten by Torpedo Anna and Darth Vader, who did put on a show in there. She was impressive when winning the Molly Pitcher. As mentioned, she won this race back in 2023, and she has speed, which makes her doubly dangerous.
She is fast, and she's faster than these horses early. Listen, her Molly Pitcher was good. She's a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
But when she can control, she's a tough horse to beat.
See if she can take them every step of the way and pick up another rendition of the Beldame on Friday. That will be part of that Pick 6 carryover sequence as well.
Carryover, get to work. We don't know. We didn't get as much rain, so maybe we'll keep a couple races on the turf, but it's just conjecture at this point. I've heard nothing one way or the other. If I do, I'll tweet it out.
Keep an eye on Andy's social media. And then, of course, on Saturday, we have all of that graded stakes action to look forward to. Tomorrow, we'll be back from 1 to 5:30. Be sure to check your local listings. See if Randomize can pick up another Beldame. Good night, everyone.
New York breds. Race them.
Respect them.
Bet them.
Respect them.
Breed them.
Respect them.
Buy them.
Respect them.
Train them for a second career.
Respect them. Join us in respecting thoroughbreds at every stage of life. Learn more at nybreds.com.
Why do we do this?